So welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And we're joined by one of the greatest CSGO players and one of the greatest streamers. He's still grinding away on Twitch. Please help me welcome Jared, aka Summit1G. How you doing, brother?
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks so much for having me, bro. I don't know about the best Counter-Strike player.
Hey, man. Hey,
but you know,
you did some big things in CSGO. Come on, don't.
Yeah, we moved. We got some movement.
Yeah. Uh-oh, there's a puppy. How's life been, man?
Yeah.
I was literally watching you stream last night, and I will say I am impressed that you're able to continue to stream after so many years of doing it and still enjoying it and still put on great content.
Yo, thanks so much, man. Thanks so much. Yeah, I've been around a long time, still trucking. I don't know. It's a weird combination of being addicted to video games and streaming at the same time that I can just every day just feels good to me. I don't know. It feels good. I like doing it.
Well,
it's fun times.
But don't you feel like the gaming and I wanna vibe out with you about this. Do you feel, you know, when it came to streaming, at the very beginning, it was Justin.tv and it was more about IRLs, you know, people doing crazy stuff. And then eventually it became Twitch. Twitch got purchased by Amazon. Once it got purchased by Amazon, it got a strict code of conduct that nobody, I mean, it was basically PG, right?
Yeah.
And now you look at it, I feel like it's going back to IRL streams where IRL streams are, you know, I was watching Kai Cenat stream the other day with Kim Kardashian. I'm like, what the, I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? You're sitting here. I don't know, maybe because I'm on status. I'm 40, I'm almost 40. So when I see these people sitting there hitting each other on top of the head with a thing, I feel
that shit's so funny.
I feel that it's almost a trend that at the beginning was IRLs, then it was so focused on gaming, and now it's back to IRLs. You got Rampage Jackson doing Taco Tuesday and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like you kind of stayed in the lane of just gaming, like not following the path of like the trends of, oh, it's IRL, it's gaming, it's IRL. How are you able to do that and still stay focused and in that lane of just purely gaming?
To be fair, I mean, dude, the website's past me and like how far you can get in the website. Kai's doing crazy things like you were just talking about. Kim Kardashian is throwing tables at you in your house. It's kind of, you're in a weird world. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a different place. So yeah, you know, dude, I think that I've kind of been grandfathered in a little bit when it comes to the metas of Twitch. I won't like be able to like ride a crazy wave like some of these guys will, but I have like a really diehard audience that's down to chill with me every day. And like you said, man, it is super weird to see how it's gone from Justin TV IRL stuff to gaming back to IRL. Everything's going full circle. There's a little part of me that hopes it comes back to gaming a little bit more, but it is really cool to see. It's actually really weird too to see how different a generation is growing up with streaming, you know, there from the get-go rather than being discovered kind of like we did. So it's like, man, I mean, kind of like you were talking about the Kim Kardashian thing. A throwback for me was, which was so weird, was I was on stream one day and everybody's kicking up prom streams. And I was like, holy crap, what a weird time. Cause I remember when my prom happened, I didn't even have a cell phone yet. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole different world. And but it's super cool to see. I like seeing how far Twitch has come and a lot of the new people really showcasing how far you can take it. It's fucking wild, to be honest. But yeah, it's been cool. It's been cool.
And I think it's fascinating to hear, because you're 38, so we're about the same age. And I feel like the IRL at the beginning, and then when it went to gaming, I felt like that's when gaming was booming. Like the gaming industry was on fire. You know, you had a little bit of both. You had the CSGO, you had the tournaments, the MLG, you had everything. And now it's like, I would jump on Twitch, and I'm just like, what am I watching? It's like, I don't even know what to watch anymore. And for you, I saw you playing a game. It was like an overhead game, and you're running in the snow. And I'm like, what the hell? What is he doing?
What's going on? Yeah, I just kind of play weird games sometimes. I'll go with like a little bit of the main jammers, kind of make sure everybody's happy on the channel. I'm not kind of beating everybody with a boring stick, and but every once in a while I got to make myself happy and play the weirdo games. But yeah, it is a weird game. It's Foxhole. It's like it's two factions. It's a very long, persistent war, and it's a top-down war game. It's kind of like if you've ever played Command and Conquer. Yep. It's like Command and Conquer, but instead of two commanders playing against each other, each unit is a person and they just have to figure it out how to make something work. You know what I mean? So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, It's a weird world on Twitch, I guess, is what we're getting at here.
Is it RTS, like real time strategy?
It's almost kind of like that, but instead of like a commander making decisions on what you're doing, you guys as the little individual units as a team have to figure out how you want to go about like taking a front or defending a position or that sort of thing, which is kind of the challenge. Like, how much can strangers on an army come together to, you know, fight off a force? Like, what can you guys accomplish as 5 people here? You know what I mean? Or 10 people over here. I don't know. It's just kind of a wild thought to me, I guess. So like the game kind of plays out like that. There's a lot of different ways to play it. Like logistics is everything. Logistics is like the guys in the back line that are bringing all the weapons and stuff to the front line. And like they say, logistics wins wars. And it's really cool because you got like a whole group of people that like doing that, a whole group of people like to fight at the front. And it's just like, I don't know, big collective unit all working like a machine.
How many people play on a team? Or is it everybody like you're a single unit, there's another person? Yeah. Is it like 50 on 50 or is it what's the
it's more like, I would say on the days that are so like prime time, it would be 5,000 or 6,000 people on the game at a time. So in a single server, there's only 2 wars usually that go on at a time. So in the main server, I would say if there was 5,000 people online, probably like 3.5 of those guys are probably all in one server. So it'd be like, yeah, do the math there. What, 1 point something versus 1 point something.
Oh my goodness.
Across like a very giant map, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's pretty cool, I think, you know?
Yeah. How long does usually a war last? Because that's a lot of coordinating between a lot of people. I'm sure you guys aren't on Discord. Nobody's using TeamSpeak. So you guys
sometimes, you know, the guilds and those, you know, they're the regiments, I'm sorry, is what they call them. Yeah, they go on Discords and stuff like that. They have like, you know, individuals that will team up and do stuff, but then they have the big regiments that will do like, you know, beach assaults and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. But yeah, like you're saying, how long does the wars last? The last war just lasted 69 days. And the one before that, I think, was 72. Yeah.
69 days?
Shit. Yeah, real days.
Dude,
that's crazy.
That
bro.
sounds like Rust to me. When I first started playing Rust, you build your fort and you have your guys, you're all hanging out. And then I was like, all right, guys, we did good. I'm gonna go to bed. I come back to the server the next day, all my shit is gone. I'm like, what just happened? and nobody told me about it. Everybody was like, oh, dude, like if you don't come back, you know, fast enough or whatever, or somebody's not guarding the base.
Someone's taking your shit.
Somebody's taking your shit. And I was like, they're like, this is like real life. I was like, what the oh my God. That's what it sounds like with that game. Like I could not imagine a 69-day war. And
yeah,
wow.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I like it.
Well, here's
I've seen the beginning of a war. I've seen the end of a war. I've never been in an entire war. They're long.
You see the beginning, you see the fucking, you come at the end and you're like, all right, guys, good job.
Yeah.
GG's.
Let's go, boys.
Good G's. Fucking love
we
that.
did good.
Do you ever miss gaming how it was back in the day? And I'm going to set the stage for you, right? We're the same age. Okay. Like I tell everybody all the time, like I miss going to, you know, Electronic Boutique or GameStop, whatever it was, you know, where you lived, picking up a cartridge, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, going home, playing it, and, you know, sitting there, you know, I just played Donkey Kong 1 with my, my oldest. And we're playing and we're just laughing. We're just laughing. And I was like, you see this, son? This is real gaming right here.
This is old school stuff.
We're not worried about the DLC. We're not worried about, you know, playing with 1,000 people online. It's just me and you gaming. And I feel that you don't see, I feel like maybe streaming is a part of that because, you know, you look at Battlefield 6, which is about to come out. You have a lot of games that are coming out, and right when it comes out, everybody's asking, oh, I wonder what the in-game content's like. Or I wonder what the PvP aspect, I wonder what the online play is. Even the new World of Warcraft game that's coming out, Midnight. Yeah. Everybody's like, what's the in-game? What's the raid like? I feel like nobody's appreciating the journey through the game. And then once you get to the end of it, it's like, you walk away and like, wow, that was an amazing gaming experience.
That was. Yeah, you know, old school style definitely has its charm. You know what I mean? I feel like we came up through some of the best times in gaming. You mentioned Nintendo 64 cartridges. I think of GameStop and Blockbuster. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I still remember when I rented like WWF 2000 like 4 or 5 times in a row from Blockbuster. I couldn't get enough of it. I always make my character look exactly like The Rock, but I'd put pants on him.
Yeah.
So but yeah, you know, it's video games. It's crazy because it's just like MMA in a way. It's like it's so new. If you look at the beginning times of MMA, I mean, there's people punching each other in the balls, you know, doing like grappling for like 30 minutes straight, you know, no rules type of shit. And the expectations of not only has the skill set grown but like the skill set has grown, the rule set has evolved, the stage has evolved, everything is the same in gaming, right?
Yep.
It's like we're not playing in a cafe Lancer anymore with the opponent, you know, right in front of me and with other opponents right behind my chair watching my computer screen. You know, people are on stages and giant crowds hitting things, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to see. And it's like the same thing I feel like in casual gaming too. Like as gamers have gotten better, they've also their expectations have gotten different too. You know what I'm saying? While we were happy with the Donkey Kong beforehand, now it's like we're looking for things with like almost like progression. Like how can I play this game the longest time possible? You know, what can I do on it? You know? And I think that's the expectation. So like when Battlefield 6 comes out, that's actually one of my first questions is like, what kind of stuff is there to unlock, you know, to look forward to, you know, to grind for. So I think, we come from like a simpler time of video games where it was so new that we would have taken anything that was in front of us that we can move, you know what I mean? But now that it's been out for so long, I think just skill set and expectations are so much different, you know?
Yeah. It breaks my heart because I like how you said it had a charm to it because I was playing, I hooked up my Nintendo Switch to the big screen TV. My daughter, she's been playing Street Fighter 2. She beats Chun-Li or Dhalsim. My wife played a little bit too.
Okay.
And I'm like, God, this is good gaming. And now when I look to the future, like I'm like, okay, you know what? Because I used to stream a lot on Twitch, and I was always being pigeonholed to play UFC 4. And I was like, guys, I don't want to play UFC 4. I want to play what I want to play. They're like, we want to see UFC 4. We want to fight you. But I was like, you know
play
what?
your own character.
Yep, exactly. So they can kick my ass like I kicked your ass all the time. But that's when I got the most views. That's when I got the most the best content and the most viewership. But then I told myself, you know, I'm taking a step back. I started playing Marvel Rivals when I'd stream, but Marvel Rivals would always trip my breaker because I have the 50, I think it's the 5040 RTX. It draws so much power when I'm hitting the Eye of Agamotto that it goes boom. So I'm like, fuck. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stream Marvel Rivals anymore. I'm going to try to get back into streaming and play like...
What the heck's the Eye of Agamotto? Is that your guy's ultimate?
Yeah, that's Dr. Stream, the Eye of Agamotto.
Oh, that's what that is. Dude, it sounded weirdly familiar when you said it, but I still had no idea what it was. Okay, yeah.
Each time I hit that, the breaker flips because it's just so much... I guess the 5040 RTX, it just draws so much power. And I don't know why I've been trying to get it fixed, but I just haven't been able to.
There's no way this is this is a real problem?
This is a legit problem. That's why I haven't.
No way.
Yes. Each time
oh my gosh.
Each time I play
You're telling me this dude, this superhero hits a move that's too powerful for your computer to keep trucking through?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. That's crazy. Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
That dude's strong.
Well, it's even like if I do Bucky and I do his special, it's just like when it's just when the GPU pulls so much power to do something, it just flips the breaker. And then I have to run upstairs, flip it again. And then
that sucks.
You know how it is when you're streaming. If the stream drops, everyone's like, rip.
Of course.
And then you got to start it back up. So it's just, I kind of stay away from it. But I feel like I'm going to get back. I want to get back into streaming and just playing. The games I have my eye on is Resident Evil's Requiem and Onimusha Way of the Samurai. I was like, here it is again. We're back to bringing back that charm where it's a single player game. I'm not worried about the DLC.
I love Resident Evil games.
And I just can't wait for those games. But you seem to find just random games all the time. And you still have, I just how do you manage that grind? How do you manage it?
Barely. I'll say that barely. It's one of the worst things as a streamer when you're in a game rut. And I feel like I've been in a semi game rut for like the last 6 months where I'm just barely finding games that are kind of keeping my attention. You know, Battlefield 6 comes out, holds me for like a few days, you know what I'm saying? And then I just got my little niche games. I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, you can ask the chat how many times they've had to go down the Steam rabbit hole with me to try to find something just for that day to figure out what I wanted to do. So it does, I do find them, but it is a pain in the ass when there's not anything coming out that you're excited for as a streamer. You know what I mean? Because it's like, then it turns into a different type of grind. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Not like a bad time, but it's not like, you know, you want to wake up after 4 hours of sleep and you're just like, fuck it, dude, I got to get back on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well,
you messaged me like at 3 a.m. last night. I was like, he must have just got done with that war. Like,
yeah.
How did you take it to the beginning. How did you get into streaming and how were you able to turn something that was a passion into a source of income? You were able to monetize it, right? Like, I think a lot of people don't realize that, you know, it has to start as a passion and then eventually it turns into a point where you can actually monetize it, not just from the fan support, but even having activations, which are very rare nowadays, I feel like, from different gaming studios.
Yeah, you know, the activations have actually kicked up a little bit more in the last couple years than they used to back then. The sponsors back then were more long, not that they're not anymore. They are. They're more like, you know, long term. We'll pay you such and such per month for you to, you know, represent keyboard, mouse, headset, fucking energy drink, monitors. You know what I mean, sort of thing. Now there's a lot of video game companies that are like, yo, play our game for a couple hours, play this for a couple hours, watch this for a couple hours. There's a lot more of that going on actually nowadays. And yeah, there was not always money on Twitch. It was just a hobby for a lot of people beforehand. The only person that I even knew was kind of making money back in those days, and it's only even what I heard of was Soda Poppin'. And that's kind of like Soda Poppin' was a big guy that I based a lot of my stream off of. And so, yeah, when I got started, it was just, I had heard about it while I was working at Howie's Game Shack, which is a LAN center. You remember cafes, LAN centers, we were just talking about it. I worked at one, and that's where I learned about streaming. I was hanging out in my manager's office. We somehow came across it, and I was like, I want to do that for Counter-Strike. I was a heavy Counter-Strike player. I was competitive, and I thought I was pretty good. So I wanted to, you know, I was thinking at the time, like, I want to show my skills off. You know what I mean? I didn't think it was going to be like, oh, I really want to like talk to people and hang out with people. So yeah, when I got started, it wasn't even on Twitch. It was actually on Owned 3D. Owned. I don't know if you remember that website. It was their only competitor at the time. But the thing about Twitch back then is they didn't have a Counter-Strike category. So I was like, fuck, I guess I'll just go to Owned, you know what I mean? And I'll just play Counter-Strike there. And I'd get like 20, 30 viewers, but nobody really talked on Owned was the thing. And I was just kind of like, I didn't really like the feeling of like having a viewer number, but not seeing that like translate to, to communication. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to make the transition to Twitch. Cause I think at that time they actually did have 1.6 as a game category. I think back then I was playing 1.6 as CSGO wasn't even out yet. So then I went to Twitch, like, you know, 10 viewers, 15 viewers, something like that. And then the first kick for the channel was when CSGO came out. So CSGO comes out, and I'm one of the very few streamers who's even on 1.6 consistently, right? Nobody's fucking playing that game really on stream with a camera either, mind you. I took a leap and was like, fuck it, I want to do a camera. And nobody else on Counter-Strike at that time was even doing a camera. This is such a weird time. If you think about today, it's so, you have to have one it's completely normal to have one. Dude, nobody in the Counter-Strike category had a fucking camera. It's so weird. CSGO comes out, blows up a little bit. Not even blows up, honestly. Just kind of like has a launch, right? My channel goes from, 20 viewers, 15 viewers to like 200, 250 is kind of like where it goes. Damn. And then it just kind of like goes from that point, and other games come out and they snowball the channel a little bit. And that's kind of how the whole thing starts. But yeah, guys like Soda Poppin' were really like only making money through donations, because the word on the street back in the day was like he had some like like Dubai princes or something like that, that were really like World of Warcraft. They were donating them lots of money. But yeah, once partnerships, the partnership was actually a lot harder to get back then too. I don't know if you remember that. It was like
you would have to reach a certain threshold in order even to get there, and then you would you wouldn't even have to apply for it. You would just get it essentially. And then it came to a point where it's like now you reach that threshold, and then you would have to apply for it. And I can't remember how many times people have gotten denied. It's like you're truly going to deny me the opportunity to make money on your platform with my viewership, my fan base. Like,
it's definitely weird.
Continue. Yes,
it's a different process now. It's just a different process nowadays. Plus, they have the couple different processes right now. Now they have the affiliate plus the sub thing, right? Mm-hmm. Back then, it was just a full blown. It was just the one partnership style. It was the 50-50 split, and it was you had to have like. I want to say it's hard to remember exactly what the concurrents were, but I want to say it was like something like 400 concurrent viewers before you would really be taken seriously on getting a partnership with them. So it was like that was something that it was kind of unattainable, to be honest with you. It didn't really happen to a lot of people, so it was pretty cool when it did happen, and money finally exceeded the job that I had quit to start doing the streaming stuff. But yeah. That's streaming did not always have money involved, especially not even fucking close to the money it has today. Sponsors back then weren't even, because you don't know what your value is. You're so fresh, you're so new, you're such a new community. You don't know what your value is to pitch to a sponsor. So a sponsor's just hitting you up for $1,000 here, a couple grand there. And then it wasn't until like real agencies started getting involved. Actually, it was Twitch that rolled in, at least from my point of view, perspective, like Twitch rolled in an agency crew. And then they started helping us kind of get what we, I guess, get our value a little bit more from developers and from companies. And then the person that I knew that was just working at Twitch as one of those dudes, he was so good at it and was good at working with me. He ended up leaving Twitch, making a company called Loaded. And then I rolled with him, I think, along with like Tim the Tap Man back in those days. And then that's how Loaded got started. And I'm still with them to this day. I still contact and work with that person to this day. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little process through Twitch on how it went from basically zilch to making crazy money today. I can't even believe how much money it is today.
Well, I'll never forget. There was a point in time where Microsoft was. I had one of my old coach's friends. He used to work on Microsoft. Now he's at Facebook, I believe. I'm not sure. But he told me that process that Microsoft was looking to buy Twitch before Amazon did. And then once they're passing up, but they're like, we don't really want it. Once Amazon bought it, and then Amazon kind of made it what it is today, that's when they started to make it. What was their, not Kick?
Mixer.
They're like, we're just going to repeat the process, pay, Shroud and Ninja to come over. Obviously, that didn't work, and they got paid the fuck out. But it's crazy just to see, dude, you've been on Twitch the whole entire time. You've never switched. I know now, it's funny because right now everybody is in mixed martial arts where we're talking about exclusivity contracts and all that stuff, where at one point in time, dude, it's right now in UFC, you're an exclusive athlete. You want to fight for the UFC. You can't fight for one. You can't fight for PFL. And the same thing for those athletes. So right now in jiu-jitsu, they just had CJI 2, and that event, the first one got kind of brought on because they're trying to pay the athletes a lot more money, and two, try to keep away exclusivity. Because once the exclusivity, you can't have, the best athletes compete against each other, right?
That's true.
So I remember a point in time in Twitch, there's an exclusive contract. You only could stream on Twitch. You could, if you're a partner, you couldn't stream on YouTube or Mixer or whatever. I mean, Facebook had one. Facebook Gaming had one. I remember they had Max Holloway. They had Ronda Rousey. But now, see, this, people don't realize this. Now everybody just looks at Twitch.
Forgot about that.
Everybody just looks at Twitch as, Twitch is the best place to be, which I think it is one of the best places to be. But you've stayed there. You've never gone. You never jumped ship to Mixer, Facebook Gaming. Like, was there a reason for that? Because I'm sure they offered you a bag, right?
Yeah, I got offered a Mixer bag. Because it's, The simple answer is I'm not here for the short term. I'm here for the long term, and I'm not. If it feels like career suicide, then I probably won't do it. You know what I mean?
So you think
that's generally.
So I'm not saying that you think it's like other guys who I've had Ninja on the podcast before. And he talked about when he was at his peak, when he did that, the collab stream with Drake and all like the musicians, and he was at the highest peak, and then now he's not at the highest peak anymore. It's only when he plays Fortnite, and he was like, that endorphin release, like I'm always searching for that next high. Do you think those guys taking those contracts? Shroud's still doing well. Ninja's still doing well. What made you think it was going to be career suicide? Like what part of it was you're like, nope, I know a trap when I see one. Not that I was a trap, but you get my gist.
I think you just have to be able to look at things in reality. I just kind of understand where I sit in the Twitch world. I know where my audience is. And I know that I'm just not quite at the level of dudes who can make that switch. I just see myself as not being able to, because you've seen both happen. Yep. You've seen guys who successfully make the switch, and you've seen guys who don't successfully make the switch. And I just simply put myself in the category that I don't think I would be one of the guys who can successfully make a switch without it affecting my long-term career on Twitch. So it was just like, do I want to make a shitload of money now, or do I want to just make sure that I'm making what I'm making for as long as I can? You know what I'm saying? And it was just I just chose the one that was. I'm so scared to fuck up this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the guy that makes a really fucked up mistake and loses everything. You know what I mean? But I feel that's generally it.
I feel like, one, I think it's a great mindset to have, right? Because a lot of people see the bulk of the money up front instead of thinking about the long term. And two, I feel like you've got to be streaming now for, my son's 12. So you started before me. So you got to be streaming for like 15 years now, right? 15?
2012, so I'd say 13 going on 14.
Yeah, that's a long time. So you built
I don't even know where it went.
But I think you've built a steady community that supports you. Whatever game you're playing, I think each time I clock in on you, you're about maybe 3,000 to 6,000, maybe 10 to 15, depending on the game, right? You never.
Yeah, it just depends. That's one of the things that showcases what you're capable of as an individual too, right? How much does my viewership fluctuate from game to game versus someone who's very personality driven? They're not losing as much game to game. So I consider that platform switch something similar to that. Just throwing that out there since you brought that up. But but what was the question again? I forgot.
No. Well, you brought up a good question for me, because how do you mentally battle through that, right? Like I mentioned it earlier on when we were chatting, is that when I play UFC 4 or 3, numbers are through the fucking roof. But when I want to play like, Street Fighter 6 or, Resident Evil 7, it's like 20 viewers. It's just a huge drop off. How do you manage that? Because, luckily I'm in a space, and I'm sure you are now, I'm in a space where I don't really stream for the monetization, right? Like when I stream, I get donations. It basically goes in the pool to help pay for graphics.
And you're just chilling. You're just doing something for fun. You like to do it, right?
Exactly. But there was a point in time where I was like, man, oh God, I need more viewerships, because we know more viewership brings in more dollars. So how do you battle that?
Gosh, man, I've always had a very simple theory. I guess I'm a simple person. I've always gone with the theory that I'm a main. It's always been impossible for to be a variety streamer on Twitch. It's one of the most sought after and difficult things to make work on Twitch and be successful is to be a variety streamer. So, shout out to guys like Lyric and Co Carnage, who have been doing that successfully for a very long time. My theory has always been, if you want to transition from a main game streamer to eventually somewhat, I'll say, of a variety streamer, I've always done my main game hours. And then when those hours are done, I leave myself the availability to switch to nighttime hours. And nighttime hours, I just tell myself, like, I'm not there for the bulk audience. I'm there for myself and a new audience, right? And not to mention, it's another thing. It hits on your bulk audience more than you think too, because your bulk audience is used to you watching this one thing.
Yep.
So when you switch to another thing, their first reaction is really get the fuck out of Dodge. But if you're doing it consistent enough, then you slowly get your bulk audience used to seeing you in other environments. So it's not such it's not such a foreign area when you go there. You know what I'm saying? And so they don't feel, it doesn't, you're like the uncomfortable setting doesn't transition to your audience. Like they don't feel that because they're used to seeing you do it all the time. So it's like you may lose a lot of your audience, but at the same time, you may gain a little bit. Don't get me wrong. It's a very little bit. You might only gain 10 people that night or something to hit the follow button from this other category that you've swapped to. But nonetheless, over a long period of time, you will have people discover your channel through weird areas like that. And then at the same time, have your bulk audience slowly getting accustomed to seeing you in strange areas of games. So I just think that's like, I don't know. I feel like losing a little bit of viewership at the end of your stream that's 10 times worth it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. That's one of the things I love about doing the podcast is my passion that'll always be closest to my heart is always going to be gaming, right? I love gaming. It would always be there. And even though I always talk to athletes, I'm always fascinated by gamers, other people who have different walks of life. And I always like to pick gamers' brains because I used to be in your shoes where I'm looking for that next game. I'm gonna play Elden Ring. Oh, brand new game's coming out. I gotta be the first one to stream it. I gotta get the most views in order to get there.
Yeah.
But to see you still in there and grinding away, and I always like to ask, like, what's your mindset when it comes to, because I think a lot of streamers want to be that variety streamers where they can play whatever game they want, where you're stuck in that boat. It's like, well, I'm playing, what's the name? Escape from Tarkov. Oh, it's a new wipe. Escape from Tarkov. Oh, there goes a cheater. Just killed me. Oh, what's his name?
You still got to get back on Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah. What's his name? He's one of the biggest Tarkov streamers. There's Pestily. He streams Tarkov all the time. And then Landmark. That's all he plays. And I saw he was trying to get away
He transitions really well nowadays, actually. He's doing pretty good at moving around. He hangs out with us, me and Hutch.
Okay.
He does like sponsored stuff too, which I also don't think is a bad way to get people to see you in a different game too. It's like, fuck it, you're playing a sponsor game. They'll watch you play that shit, you know? So yeah, Landmark's doing a little better he's not getting stuck in that category at least. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. People do get stuck in categories.
You see it. And I just, I don't know if you obviously know who Dwayne Johnson is. He just did the Smashing Machine, and he did an interview. He said that, you know, for the longest time when I was in Hollywood, I was pigeon-toed into this is what I was going to do. Like Fast and the Furious 7, Fast and the Furious 21, you know, the red light, all like the action base. And he's like, you know what? When I did the Smashing Machine, the Mark Kerr, you know, documentary, he goes,
looks cool.
It looks great. I can't fucking wait to watch it. He goes, I did that for me. I'm tired of doing what everybody wants me to do. But I feel like you get to that point once you make all that money. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I feel like, you know, you're sitting pretty well. You're going 14 years of streaming. You don't have any children, right? And and are you married, single?
Married.
You're married. And she's also a streamer too, correct?
Yeah. She does dibble dabbles in streaming.
Yeah, so you guys are like, at one point you're like, you know what, guys, for 1 month, I'm gonna play where the fuck I want. You can show up or not, but I need this for my soul. I need this, right? Because I would assume you're financially stable enough where you're like, you can take a hit for a month, right? You might lose maybe, you know, a couple of viewers, maybe a lot, but you're financially okay to do that.
Yeah, I'm good enough to kind of make those decisions without having any consequences for them. It's, you know, there's a weird thing. It's no matter how much I want to play my own games, I still want to maintain like this I'm a good streamer, or I do my best to be a good streamer thing going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like I still have the same things that I think about today that I thought about my first few years, which is like, how much am I talking to chat? Like, you know, it's been like 15 minutes since you looked at your left fucking monitor. You know what I mean? And it's just like, mostly what I'm thinking about is how much am I interacting and involving my chat and whatever the fuck I'm doing? And I fail that a lot. to be honest with you. And I even will be thinking to myself, if I did that more, would I be doing a little bit better? So I'm not 100% like past like the hurdle of don't even have to think about your stream anymore, your numbers, any of that shit. I still really do, to be honest with you. Not so much in the same ways as I used to, like really thinking about the sub count or really thinking about the viewer numbers specifically, but more so like I have like this audience has been around for a long time. Like I'd like to maintain that audience and make sure that I'm doing everything every day to make that happen. Because, you know, everybody's individual, bro. No one owes you shit. So it's not like these people just show up because, you know, because you're a charity case. They, you know, it's because you're making their day a little bit better or fun or taking their mind off something or just being a second monitor, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I got to be there. You know, so I try to make sure I am, I guess, is still like the mentality.
Yeah. How many hours a week do you stream? Like, what's your schedule like?
I don't know. My schedule is I get up and I just stream until I can't anymore.
What?
Really? Yeah. I just.
How many days a week?
7.
Oh my God. So how often do you leave the house?
Not often.
Oh my God.
Not often. But here's the thing. It's like it's not been like that my whole career. It's just been like that for like the last year or like couple years because I've just been what can I say, head down, really making sure I'm getting through this new wave of Twitch. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to be completely left behind. You know, I do want to still remain somewhat relevant in the Twitch space so that my career can remain. So I definitely can put my fucking head down and play some video games. So I've been doing that, you know?
So when you say this new wave of Twitch, what is this new wave you're talking about? Explain that to me.
The IRL wave, the Kai Sanats, you know, the new ninjas that are really cracked FPS players and, you know, just youngsters really, you know, young people want to watch young people. They don't want to watch the old man. So once you're the old man, you're no longer appealing to the young audience. You get what I'm saying though? You know, they say weird things. When I was a kid, I was saying tight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they say things like, I don't even know what the fuck they say, to be honest. Like, you know, they're getting cooked. And
I feel you know, it's the first time, typically you hear that from an athlete. You hear that from an athlete like in mixed martial arts. You have the new guard, right? You know, Luke Rockhold, he just fought Darren Till he got knocked out. He's 40 years old. And he was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm not going to fight more. So he's 40, right? Granted, he fought Darren Till. Darren Till's about 32, 33. So he's a young buck. But typically, you know, you have Alex Volkanovski. He fought Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria was pretty young. So obviously, the older athlete is trying to keep up with the younger athlete. With
the younger dudes.
Where I'm hearing you saying like, I got to keep up with the new generation. They're saying shit like Cook, Riz, you know? All that stuff. And that's
the Riz,
that's the first time I've heard.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it's the first time I heard a gamer say that about the younger generation. Only reason why I know the lingo is because my kids, they play fucking Roblox, right? So they're like, oh man, I'm cooked, chat, I'm cooked. And I'm like, there is, dude, I was like, and I tell the kids, I'm like, kids, there is no fucking chat. You're not streaming. You're playing video games. But like, Dad, it's just a lingo. And I'm like, don't say it again.
No way. Dude. That is so funny.
Yeah. So you're trying to keep up with them, but don't you feel that you have a stable community that's going to, you know,
of course,
you know, but you're trying to get the newer.
Who knows? You never know in the streaming world who's going to hit what audience you're going to step into, what game is really just going to hit. Yeah, and I'm just sitting around just doing my thing, and maybe it happens, you know, maybe it doesn't. But regardless, you know, I want to be around and making sure, and like I said, it kind of goes back to one of those things. It's like, I don't want to fuck up this opportunity. Like I've been given this opportunity. I don't really I wasn't really prepared for in life. I was working shit jobs, bro. I was prepared to work shit jobs my whole life. You know what I mean? So when now that I got this, can't fuck it up. Need to be there, even through the young guns. You know, showcasing really good, you know, FPS skills and personalities and the whole shebang. I mean, even like Tim the Tap Man, he'll even say that you know, the wave of Twitch is completely shifted more towards IRL, right? He was even saying that not too long ago to his stream. So yeah, it's just a shift. I can feel it, I can see it, and you know, I know of some other streamers from that were a little bit before me that maybe didn't see the shift happen and didn't go forward with anything and kind of were just happy settled into their position, and I just don't want to be completely settled. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to. Yeah.
Are those streamers still around, or are they like fuck?
Some of them.
Some of
them are still around, and some of them are. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I feel like there comes a point, like even for me, when I look at like doing the MIGHTYcast and the YouTube channel, I don't foresee me doing this for the rest of my life, right? Maybe I get to a point where I could be like, my goal be like Joe Rogan, where it's like, hey, I'm doing, I do 3 episodes a month, if that, or 2 episodes a month, right? Where right now we kind of have the same thing. Head down, we're grinding. I like to talk to everybody in different spaces and try to produce as much content from in different genres, right? We have the breakdowns, we have the mighty journey, we have the live instant reaction, we have the MIGHTYcast. I love it. So I can see where you're coming from and not try to get passed up from the new wave of Twitch, which brought, kind of hits on what we started talking about at the very beginning, is the change of beginning IRL gaming. Now it's back to IRL. And then, if trends go like this, it should go right back to gaming, and then you'll be right where you're at to begin with.
Good to go.
So you stream you stream 7 days a week, all day, every day. You wake up, you have breakfast, you come in the game. Do you ever do any exercise or anything like that? Or you're like, fuck it, I'm just sitting?
I've had like a fucked up back for a little while and neck, right? So I have some like different exercises I do. I get on the treadmill. I do dead hangs in my doorway. But to be fair, I mean, come on, bro, I'm tiny. I do need to get into the gym more and actually do some working out. You know what I'm saying? I'll even have people in the, every once in a while in the chat just like, bro, you need to get to the gym, bro. It's like, fuck, man, come on, dude. Why are you gonna do me like that? But that's just the very basic level stuff to make sure I'm not in pain, really.
Gotcha. And it's every day, just 7 days a week, just grinding all fucking day.
Yeah, I just have 7 days a week, and then I just leave myself the availability to take a day off whenever the fuck I feel like.
Okay,
it really,
that's good.
And if I want to do a half day today, I don't feel like streaming it all today, but they just don't happen that often. I'm a very routine guy. You know what I mean? I like to do the same things every day.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know you love mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Okay. What you think about the landscape right now in the UFC and all everything in mixed martial arts? How you feeling about it right now?
Dude, did you see? Oh my gosh, bro. I mean, I don't know about like landscapes between like, I'm not sure like what are great fights like to be made right now and stuff like that. But I do know that wrestling is crazy. Wrestling, dude, I never thought in a million years. It's so funny. I'm watching the fight, DDP versus Hamzat.
Yep.
And I'm telling my chat, I'm like, bros, DDP's just riding this round out right now. He's letting him get tired. He's just not trying to get out and exert a lot of energy. He's just trying to wear out Hamzat. And then Hamzat just never stopped.
Yep.
And it was crazy, bro. My jaw was on the fucking floor that whole fight. I couldn't believe that Hamzat was controlling the champion like he was just a journeyman in wrestling the entire. Bro, I'd never seen anyone take so many unanswered strikes ever without a ref calling it. Yeah. Okay. And I've never seen anyone get wrapped up in a crucifix that many times in a single fight either. So it was really crazy. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, first off, I'm happy that you were entertained by that type of style of fighting, because there's a lot of people in our world who's very criticizing of, oh, he's boring, he's just grappling. I'm like, guys, I kind of went viral and I got, not in trouble, but a lot of fans hated me on this, where I was like, guys, if you don't want to watch wrestling, if you don't want to watch an athlete who's just going to wrestle his way to a championship, don't watch it. You see this right here? This is a controller. Turn that shit off. And everyone was like,
dude, for real.
Everyone's like, I paid $89.99, $7.99. I was like, hey, newsflash, fuckface, I did too. And you know what I hate? When I paid for something, I hate seeing fucking commercials, right? I hate it. I hate commercials. That's why I have YouTube Premium. Yeah. That's why I have Twitch. When I did watch a lot more Twitch, I have Twitch Prime, right? Or Twitch Turbo, right? So the fact that you were impressed and you were excited and your jaw was on the ground after what Hamzat did to DDP makes me happy, because you've been watching mixed martial arts for a very, very long time, so you understand what he was doing, right? So
it was crazy, dude. It was absolutely insane.
Absolutely crazy. Who are your favorite fighters to watch right now?
Oh man, I mean, Topuria, obviously, is one of them. You know who was great, dude? The Michael Chandler Paddy Pimblett fight was fucking wild too. Paddy Pimblett, he went from like damn near, some would say losing a fight to Jared Gordon, to fucking to smoking Michael Chandler, dude, with ease. So I'm really interested in seeing Paddy Pimblett's next fight and seeing what he can do with that. Because, bro, he was cooking him. I see what I'm doing.
Hey,
I'm around it too much.
You're around that new wave. You're part of their new wave, baby. Yeah, you're playing games today. Chat, I don't know about this, man. I'm so fucking cooked. They're like, yeah.
But yeah, that's Pimblett is looking really, really good in his last fight. I'm always interested in seeing how Sean O'Malley is going to come out and fight, because it's a sucky thing to get beat up by Merab a couple times, because that's like, dude, that fighting style is really rough for anybody, and especially Sean style, right?
Yep.
So I still like to watch Sean fight. He's really fun and all that stuff. Merab as well. I like to watch Merab fight too. He's super funny when he fights. That dude looks like he's like going to like a circus when he walks into the cage. Just all smiles, happy, moving around. He knows he's about to beat ass. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, And when he fought, who was the
Umar Nurmagomedov?
Yeah, you know exactly who I'm talking about. That was a crazy fight too. I couldn't believe that he gassed out and Merab didn't too, and that was like the real big difference maker. That was a crazy fight too. I'm interested in a few different ones, but yeah, those are some of them.
What do you think?
What about who are you listening?
Oh, I love watching all those guys you said. I mean, right now they got Merab. He's about to take on Corey Sandhagen. You got Alex Pereira.
That's right.
Yeah, you got Alex Pereira about to fight. I might be dating his second fight against Ankalaev. For me, when it comes to watching mixed martial arts, it's all about the stories. Like what happens to this athlete? If he beats this athlete, what does he do? And for me, now being retired, I like to think about, how soon do athletes retire, right? Like how much more do they keep on fighting? How much money do they need? What is, for me, at one point in time, it was to be the best in the world. And then once I became the best in the world, I kept on defending it. But there has to be a point in time where it's like, okay, I got to start transitioning away from fighting. And I'm fascinated on when athletes start to think about that. When I look at Merab, he's beating everybody in the UFC as right now at 135. He's about to fight Corey Sandhagen. If he beats Corey Sandhagen, I'm not sure who's next. So I think Merab's about 34, 35. If he fights for another 2 years, he'll be 37. I think that's any successful.
Perfect time
to be like, I've made enough money. I'm not married. I have no kids. I have investments. I don't
legacies intact.
Walk away. Right. So that's why I'm attached to his story so much. Same thing with Aljo. Same thing with Ilia. I feel like Ilia is that unicorn.
Oh yeah, Aljo.
He's a unicorn where it's like, hey, I'm here for maybe 5 more fights. Then I'm done. I retired at 32. That's what gets me excited about fighting. Not obviously it's the fighting itself, but the stories for me bring more joy of watching to see what's going to happen. So
I get you.
Yeah, I
that's cool. That's really cool. I like that too. I mean, you got a little story. You're starting a little story with some people too that I saw. Death Sentence and Wing C, right? Yeah, I've been watching some of that stuff. Yeah, that's super cool, man. I love it.
Thanks.
I love it.
Thanks, man. That's one thing we're trying to do with the channel is, when I was streaming full time on Twitch, my channel never grew. I don't know why. Maybe because I was trying to be that variety streamer. I didn't really pigeonhole myself into like just playing UFC 4 to build my fan base. But then once I switched over to YouTube full time, that's where my viewership took off. And then I was like, okay, well, I don't want to give a channel where it's just me breaking down videos all day, every day. And I was like, okay, so we start
some different stuff.
Yeah, I want to do different stuff. And I was like, you know what? We had Death Sentence on, and the chat was like, hey, the producer, this is all his doing. He says, dude, if this gets over 250,000 views, we gotta train him. And then I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Heck yeah.
That fucking thing got 650,000 views. We flew him out.
Damn.
We trained him. And then now, I just talked about, I think a week and a half ago. And then the second time we brought out Wing C, and Wing C's been doing good. So now it's kind of like we're able to produce these things. And I think the long-term goal for us, and me and the producers have talked about, is like, I want to make short films. Like I want to make short films where it's like, we all love horror. I love action, combat, military style. So that's like my end game, where it's like, we'll still do that, but we're going to really focus on like, hey, we're going to do short films. And then maybe one day, like a goal of mine, I'm going to put it out there. My wife says, put that energy out there to make a movie where it's like, hey, it's a 90-minute movie, a horror movie, whatever it may be, right? Low budget, I don't know. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you watching the,
that sounds crazy.
The training arc, man. I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah, dude, it's super cool. I seen you knock out Wing C with a crazy kick. Yeah, you still got some crazy snap in that kick, man.
I gotta keep with that new wave, Summit, or gotta keep with a new wave, baby.
Yeah, you did. That was crazy. Yeah, that's been a fun one. I'm glad you got something like going a different direction, almost like that's a different way for sure. That's a real cool one.
I appreciate that, man. Well, I know you got a gaming stream to get to, so before I let you go, first off, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Like I always, like I said, man, this is my passion right here. Like I could talk gaming, the industry, the ups and ebbs and flows with all gamers, right? So I appreciate taking the time. Summit, man. This is your opportunity to let people know where they can find you, how they can support you. The floor is yours, brother.
You can just check me out. Socials, Summit1G, twitch.tv and then x.com. Those will work. Damn. I appreciate you letting me have the shout outs, brother.
Oh, of course, man. I'm sad I had to let you go because I feel like we're just getting started. We got into mixed martial arts.
I hate that there had to be a time of today. I apologize about that. There was a big one today that I have to get to.
What is this one, real quick? What's this?
It's Borderlands 4.
Is this a new one coming out?
Yeah, so Borderlands 4 is not released yet, and they're going to allow. We weren't even supposed to talk about it, which I accidentally leaked it to my channel yesterday. It's like I don't know exactly. Do I have the thing? I don't know. I'm doing it with someone, like 3 other people or something like that. Lyric, Burnt Peanut, and Shroud. Okay. And myself, we're all going to play Borderlands 4. I think we can only play like one mission or something like that because they don't want us to showcase the whole game. So we're going to, so it's going to be fun, to be honest. I actually just got done playing Borderlands 3, so it's right up my alley.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, boys,
there we go.
If you guys...
Hey, man, thanks for having me, brother.
Oh, of course. Yeah, boys, if you enjoyed this episode of MIGHTYcast, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live. And please do yourself a favor. Go give my man Summit1G a follow. This man is putting out some amazing content and playing many different games. We will see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MIGHTYcast, and we are going to recap everything we just went through with our guest, and our guest was Summit1G. We have to call this part the Mighty Recap. Now, I know you guys are probably like, why is he talking to a gamer? We want to hear the next athlete. Relax. I like to talk to people who fascinate me. And right now, I feel like the gaming space is just in a weird space. I started streaming about 13 years ago when 12 years ago when Tyron was born. I started streaming on Twitch, playing Mega Man X, just playing all different types of game. And Summit1G was there as well. And in the very beginning of the streaming infancy, it was all about IRLs. In real life streams where people would stream pretty much their life. And Justin.tv was the first one I got exposed to. And people were doing crazy streams where it would be a full-blown party. They're drinking. You have girls jumping off the balcony into the pool. And then eventually Justin.tv switched to Twitch. And then Twitch kind of put like a code of conduct in place. That way they can try to get some sponsors and try to get, legit backing. And then eventually it got purchased by Amazon. And then now Twitch is just this huge behemoth where at that time, gaming was probably at its best when it came to streaming because you had, you had Echo Fox, you had, just Major League Gaming, you had Call of Duty, you had H1Z1, you just had such amazing gaming content. And now when you look at Twitch or you look at the streaming space, you have that new wave that Summit was talking about. You had guys like Kai Cenat, you have iShowSpeed, where it's more about the IRL streams. You have Rampage Jackson, who's doing kick streaming. It's not even about gaming. They really don't play games. They just stream their in real life where their streaming is that, in my opinion, and this is coming from my wife's mouth, and it makes sense, it's not realistic, right? What they're doing isn't real life, right? Like obviously what IShowSpeed is doing, he's kind of touring the world right now. He's doing the American tour, so he's doing everything in America, but that's not everybody's real life. So she's like, I'm not gonna watch it because that's not real life. Like real life, a kid should be working, but they'll be working, right? Or even Kai Cenat stream, like it's not realistic for a guy to have like 8 other dudes around him to play games. It's something that it's a short span of time. It's not a long period of time. But at the end of the day, they're putting on content. It's a show. So it's that new wave of generation where Summit 1G, he's grinding right now. He has his head down. He wants to be around after this new wave because, you know, I'll be shocked. I mean, I shouldn't say that because Rampage Jackson is fucking 47 years old and he's still out there dating, you know, doing these streams, hanging out with girls and doing Taco Tuesday and shit. But I couldn't imagine myself being 45 or 47. But then again, I'm married. I have 3 children. I'm happily married. So it's just it's different, right? In the beginning, it was IRLs. It went to gaming. Now this new wave, it's all about IRLs. So I wanted to ask Summit, you know, what his thoughts were on that because he's been there since the very beginning and he's still there grinding after 14 years. And even Rampage Jackson, at one point in time, he was streaming almost every damn day, playing games like, what's that game called? Rainbow Six Siege. We've actually played together. UFC, we played that together. But now he's kind of left the game behind because off record, he told me that's where the money is the IRLs, because people want to see outlandish shit, him doing crazy stuff. It's very fascinating because for me, I don't care to see that stuff. But then again, I'm also older. So for me, seeing the new wave of streamers show stuff like IShowSpeed, I like his streaming stuff because he's going around there. He's racing people. He's kind of doing certain things. He's, you know, experiencing different cultures. So it's very fascinating to get that viewpoint from Summit. And also Summit is a huge mixed martial arts fan. He's been following the sport. He's actually done some mixed martial arts content with One Championship. I believe he's done some stuff with the UFC as well. So he's kind of really big in that space. We didn't have enough time to talk to him and ask him what his thoughts were on the $7.7 billion deal that UFC signed with Paramount. So hopefully one day I'll be able to get him back on the channel and ask him because, you know, he's been there. He talked about it. At the very beginning of the UFC, there was no rules. There was no, you know, you could do whatever you want. You could punch people in the balls. You could fish hook. You can do pretty much what you want. You would have a guy grapple for a very long time because there's no time limit like Horse Gracie. And you look how things have changed. Now there's certain rules, certain weight classes. There's time limits now. The whole aspect of it has changed just like it did in the streaming space of Twitch. So hopefully we get it back on here. But he had a gaming... He had a gaming stream. And that was the thing too. A lot of people don't realize once you become a content creator, whether it's on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, Kick, or whatever it may be, the very beginning, it's a passion. A lot of people think they quit their day job like, I'm going to be a content creator, and they think they're going to make it. You might make it, but you're going to struggle. But if you have the mindset that you're going to be a content creator while having a full-time job, then you have fun with it. It's almost like that release from that 9 to 5. But then eventually you get to a point where you start, if you're good at it, your passion, you're able to monetize it. Once you're able to monetize it and you start making more money than you do at your full-time job, then that's when you go, you know, all in on the passion that you're doing. That's how it was for me when I started fighting. When I was fighting the best in the world in WC and even the UFC, I was still working because that paycheck that I was getting every single week for $400 outweighed that, you know, $12,000 check I got if I beat Miguel Torres or if I beat Ki Yamamoto, because all it takes is one injury from the mixed martial arts world and I can't compete anymore. But I can always go back to my day job making $10.76 an hour. But there came a point in time where I was making enough money from fighting where I can leave my day job. And when I was at my day job, I enjoyed the training aspect, and I still do. But I think a lot of people get, you know, a lot of things lost in translation. Like, I want to be a professional fighter. I want to be X, Y, and Z. They quit their day job and they think they're just going to ride off in the sunset and be successful in that. So I love to hear Summit say, like, I worked at a shitty, you know, LAN server place and I kept on streaming. And eventually I started making great money. The sponsorships started coming in. The paid partnerships started coming in. I was making more money doing this Then this, I left this, and I'm still grinding, and I don't want to fuck up this opportunity. So that's why he continued to still grind. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast. It's a little bit different. But if you guys are here as the Mighty Recap, I appreciate you. I think it's very important to be different in the space and do different interviews and show a different side of me where you guys can see the passion of me talking about gaming, how it bubbles my life or how bubbly I get. So boys, if you guys enjoy this episode of MIGHTYcast, please like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to go live, and we will be dropping more banger podcasts like this outside of the space of mixed martial arts. I want to get Tally on here. If you guys don't know who Tally is probably one of the biggest streamers when it comes to World of Warcraft. This man has played every single expansion from Burning Crusade, the Cataclysm, Mr. Pandora, you name it, he's played it in World of Warcraft. And World of Warcraft was a big part of my life growing up, in the very beginning of my career. And that's the only game my wife gave me the ultimatum. She was like, it's either me or World of Warcraft. And I left World of Warcraft, but then I became a streamer and I started playing World of Warcraft again. You see, I did that. So boys, we will see you guys at the next episode of the MIGHTYcast. My page is here.
You did way better with that.
All right.
Good. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of the MIGHTYcast. And I am joined by my good friend. I like to call I just like to refer to him his black ass. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please help me welcome Rampage Jackson to the MIGHTYcast? What's going on, Rampage? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, we had a podcast today with what's her name? Fionn Davis. Yeah, jiu-jitsu athlete, and she said she want to fight you in a super fight.
No, she didn't say she wanted to fight me in a super fight. That was you. No, it wasn't you. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus. That was that's our boy Luke Rockhold making up some damn fictional stories to try to get me to join CGI Invitational and fight this young lady. I want no smoke. I want nothing to do with it. I don't want to get tapped out. I am a gi boy. I'm not a no gi boy.
So we going on record is that you scared of her. That's what we going on record.
No,
right?
I didn't say that. I didn't say I was scared of her. Right?
That's
just
because
I don't.
Like.
No, just because if my wife wants to fight me and I say no, I'm not gonna fight my wife because I know I'm gonna beat her, doesn't mean I'm scared of her. And I might say I know I'm gonna beat the woman. I've never seen her grapple before. I'm pretty sure she's damn good. She probably tear my knees apart, but I don't want no smoke. I want peace and love. That's all I want, dog.
All right, touche. I understand.
Okay. Now I'm gonna get right into it. Now, Rampage, I followed your career from the very beginning. You fighting in Pride, you fighting in the UFC, you fighting in King of the Cage, pretty much all over the damn place. But I'm assuming that your infancy into mixed martial arts was wrestling, right? Like, did you start wrestling in high school, or when did you start wrestling?
I started wrestling when I was 17 years old. I was late to the game, but I fell in love with wrestling, and it was very hard for me to kind of grasp it because I've never heard of collegiate style wrestling before. And I thought when I signed up for the team, I thought it was pro wrestling, and I was in for a rude.
You fucking nerd.
Never heard of it. True story.
Oh God! You know what? I actually got in a fight with somebody. It was my first street fight because I was in love with WWE, and one of the guys I went to elementary with, he goes, "You know that shit's fake, right?" And I was like, "No, it's not." I was like, when Stone Cold Stunner is fighting people, he's actually stunning them. He's breaking their necks. He goes, "Dude, that's so fake." He goes, "What I do is collegiate wrestling, and it's legit and it's real." I was like, "And your point?" He goes, "I bet you my collegiate wrestling beat your WWE." I was like, "Bet." And we met at the flagpole and we fought. And he slammed me. Once he slammed me, I thought it was a real fight. And so we started throwing hands. I won the fight, by the way. And so I can see where you can make that little that mistake. That mistake. You thought it was pro wrestling.
Yeah, I thought it was pro wrestling because I'm from Memphis and pro wrestling is really big there. And I got an older brother that he's like 6-7 years older than me. He still thinks it's real. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, that's what was in the house. And me and my little brother, we used to be tag team partners, and we used to practice our moves on our big sister. We was called the Cheetah Boys because we used to always cheat. We would always cheat to win. We would tag team partners, and we would double team and do whatever it takes to win. So when I turned 17, we moved to a different part of Memphis, and my school had wrestling. I'm like, what? The school got pro wrestling? Wow! And I went to go try out, and they wasn't doing no pro wrestling moves.
Oh, well, I'm sorry that didn't work out for you. You didn't do any pro wrestling. Yeah. Now, before you did wrestling, did you do any other sports like football, basketball, baseball, anything else? Or was it just, wrestling throughout your whole entire, high school, middle school?
Well, when I was in junior high school, I tried out for the football team, and my teammates kept jumping me because I kind of grew up in the hood, and right across the street from my school was a real bad area. It was like the projects, and those guys, man, they was just no good. And one thing led to another, and they just kept jumping me every day. It started off 2 guys, then 3 guys, then 4 guys. Then one day they brought their uncle, and he had guns. I was like, the coach wasn't helping me out. They started hitting me in the head with helmets in the locker room. I was like, man, football ain't that important. So I never did sports, and I was like a problem child. And wrestling actually changed my life. Before I changed my life around, I was 17 years old in the 9th grade, and I started wrestling. And then next thing you know, I started making the honor roll in school because you got to keep your grades up. And wrestling, I just fell in love with it. And my first year of wrestling, I didn't start anything, but my coach gave me a couple of matches, and I lost 5 matches in a row. And my little brother gave me the chain. And then after that, I went undefeated. All the way up to regional finals, where I wrestled this one guy that I already beat twice. And since, I came out of nowhere, they wanted him to win the regionals. So needless to say, they gave him a bunch of points and then called points and stuff for me. It was, it was kind of devastating because, I was undefeated. You know how they go. And I went to state, and I placed 6th in state my first year starting, and it was a big accomplishment for me. But that year I had the state champion pent. I hit him with a power bomb, but I dropped to my knees first, and I stacked him, and I had him pent, and the referee didn't call it. I think if I would have pent that state champion, I think I would have won state my first year starting.
Wow. I mean, that's a huge accomplishment for you starting wrestling at that time, and you make it all the way to the state, and you didn't do any other sports prior to that. I mean, you got beat up by the uncle and all the boys around the hood on the football team.
I didn't get beat up. I held my own. That's why they kept bringing them up. Yeah, bro. I was always.
So you beat all of them up then?
Bro, I always been a scrapper. A scrapper. I'm not saying I just got beat up. They probably got. They probably got a little bit.
You held your own.
Bro, no cap. I held my own because the 2 guys, I fucked them up. I'm not gonna lie. The 2 guys, I beat them up. 3 guys, I beat them up. But when it was 4, I still held my own. But it was so bad that they had to come back with guns the next day. I held my own. I grew up fighting in the street because I hated bullies, right? But people wouldn't fight me on one-on-one. So I was good at fighting 2 and 3 people. It didn't bother me.
Gotcha. Okay. So you went into wrestling. After you got done graduating from high school, you go into, did you go to college to wrestle, or did you go straight into mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I actually didn't graduate from high school. I never graduated because like I said, I was 17 years old in the 9th grade, and I started wrestling, and I started actually paying attention in school. And so I went to summer school that year, and I skipped the 10th grade. I went to the 11th grade, and that's when I started. And then that summer I turned 18. And in Tennessee, you can't do sports in high school after you turn 18. And so I went to some school, and then I started doing wrestling in the summer, like freestyle. I had never done freestyle before, and I got recruited by these college coaches, and this coach from Lassen College saw me, and I did a big power bomb at that freestyle tournament. I posted it on my Instagram. It's a crazy power bomb because remember I told you I thought it was pro wrestling, so I used to do pro wrestling moves and wrestling, especially freestyle. When I heard you can slam and you had to drop to your knees, and the coach saw me and he recruited me to go to Lassen Junior College in Northern California. So I didn't go back to high school. I didn't go back to finish my senior year. I just went straight to junior college.
I feel like even in your professional mixed martial arts career, I feel like you probably thought that was pro wrestling too, huh?
Oh yeah. I've always been a pro wrestler at heart.
So let's just jump right to it. So pro wrestling, what's your favorite era of pro wrestling? Have you been keeping up with pro wrestling right now? Like with the the Bloodlines, Roman Reigns, you have Cody Rhodes, you got Cody Rhodes. What's your favorite era of wrestling?
I guess back in the WWF days, I used to be a big Ultimate Warrior fan, and Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, Junkyard Dog, the Moon Dogs, and back when when wrestling was real, it was really different back in the days before they had all the female wrestlers, which is good. They got the women wrestlers, but this is before all that. Before it was and those were the best. That was the best for me because back then they had the cartoon, they had the little rubber figures, the toys and stuff like that. Yep. So that was my era of pro wrestling. But once I started training MMA and started doing that, I didn't watch pro wrestling no more because I kind of knew what it was about. Like that stuff is fake, and what I'm doing is real. So I didn't watch pro wrestling no more.
Gotcha. Because I feel like you love it so much because you've been doing it since, obviously when you're a kid. And then when you have the opportunity to do mixed martial arts, I'm shocked you didn't pursue a career in wrestling, right? Because I think you're powerbomb people, and I feel like you have the right charisma to be able to be a good wrestler, a good following. So why didn't you just try to do more wrestling instead of mixed martial arts?
Well, you know what the thing is? Mixed martial arts, I kind of fell into it. It wasn't even really my plan to go into mixed martial arts, but years go by. I went to the UFC, then I left the UFC when they stole my Reebok deal, but that's a different thing. And then I went to Bellator.
We'll get to that soon.
I had to throw that in. I had to throw that in there. I always, anytime I get a chance to throw that in there, I throw that out there. And I went to Bellator, and I signed a deal with Paramount. A lot of people probably don't know this, but my deal wasn't just with Bellator, it was with Paramount, and they wanted a fighter that can act to do movies. They promised me movies, reality show, pro wrestling, and fights. And so I signed a deal with them, and they signed me up to TNA, and they were supposed to train me to be a pro wrestler and all this stuff, but they dropped the ball. They never trained me, and I was on the main event Mafia, and stuff like that, but they really didn't use me and stuff like that. And the whoever the head honcho was, or there's some lady, I can't remember her name now, she just dropped the ball, so it never really happened for me.
Gotcha. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. So I feel like you made your pro debut, that was King of the Cage, correct?
Correct.
King of the Cage. Okay, King of the Cage, you go out there, you win that one. And then I feel like you made your biggest name, where you built the most eyeballs, was when you were in Pride, right?
Yeah.
Like, Pride is probably, till this day, one of my favorite things I grew up watching. If it wasn't for Pride, I don't think I would have ever found The Ultimate Fighter, because when I was coming home from college, I was watching Mirko Cro Cop, Josh Barnett, Vanderlei Silva, Mercy Shogun Hua. I was watching Yo Black Ass, with your left hook, motherfucker. I was watching you. Like, tell me about your Pride days when you were fighting over Japan.
What you want to know? I'll tell you anything you want to know about Pride. What you want to know? How are the girls? Oh my God! In Japan, in MMA, as a fighter, you got groupies. I don't think even still today, MMA is at its height in America. I don't think you get groupies like
you get dudes. You don't get chick groupies. No, you get dude groupies here in America. Yeah. So you're saying in Japan you get chick groupies.
Oh yeah, here in America you get dudes want to buy you drinks and ask you for your phone number so they can be your friend and want to train with you. In Japan, bro, in Japan, after the fight, you get girls trying to give you their phone number, girls waiting for you in the hotels and stuff like that. It was fun. I love Japan, but not only because of that. You know what I'm saying? Because
of course, that was a little funny joke. Like, how was the experience going over there? And obviously it's in a ring, right? That's something different that a lot of people don't see nowadays. Unless you're watching one championship, fighting in the ring. You also were part of those tournaments, which you don't never see tournament. I think the last tournament we saw in mixed martial arts was the last one I was in, which is the World Grand Prix. But like, walk me through like your experience in fighting in Pride, which is not around anymore.
I'm gonna tell you about my first experience. The first time I go there to fight, it was a short notice fight with Sakuraba, and I had gotten in trouble in college. I got in a fight, self-defense spot. I got in trouble. The guy went to jail. The guy went to hospital. I went to jail. So I wasn't supposed to leave the country, but I didn't give a fuck because I'm about to go fight and make some money. So I go to the airport, give my ticket, about to get on the plane. Boom, airport police arrest me. Somebody snitched on me. That's a whole different story. And so they bail me out of jail, and I go to Japan. And by the time I get to Japan, I'm already a star. Mind you, I've never fought past King of the Cage at this time. I'm already a star. Japanese fans already got laminated, plastic covered, thick trading cards of me from my pictures from King of the Cage and asking me for my autograph. I've never even fought there. I'm just getting to the hotel off the thing. So when I went to jail and I got bailed out, Pride ran this story in the newspaper. This bad boy is coming over to fight Sakuraba, and Sakuraba was the biggest star in Japan and fighting at this time. So they got this bad boy out of jail to come in just to fight Sakuraba. So the fans went crazy, and I get to the arena, the Saitama Super Arena, and they got me in this big jail cell, me and Sakuraba, and they lowered us from the ceiling all the way down, and that was my introduction to the Japanese fans, and I fought Sakuraba. I put on a great fight with considering only 2 weeks notice, and still jet lag from getting out of jail like 2 nights before, and I put on a great show, just tossing them around, slamming them and stuff like that. I ended up losing the fight by submission, but the Japanese fans loved me, and I had one of the most welcoming, saying applauses and stuff from the fans walking back to the locker room. I just lost. I was, I was disappointed in myself because I hadn't lost in a while. At that time, I think I had only lost one fight at that time to Marvin Eastman. So this is my second time losing, and it's always hard when you lose a fight and stuff like that. And I really thought that I could beat the guy, but I forgot all about that because how the fans were, how they liked me. And from that moment on, I fell in love with Japan. I fell in love with the fans and the culture that was very welcoming. And I smashed the hottest Japanese chick ever. You
had to give her some of that BBC?
If I had one, I would have gave it to her.
I love each time we're hanging out, we're like BBC. Bear's like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
It's a news station. Don't you watch the news?
Right?
Yeah. One of my girls heard me talking about BBC, and she was like, "Yeah, that's news to me." I'm glad you got that joke. I'm glad you got that joke.
I got it. Okay, so I remember back in Pride, they paid the athletes in cash, right? Can you confirm that? Obviously, if for the viewers, anybody out there, when you travel, you only can carry $10,000 in and out of the country. Anything over $10,000, you have to claim it, right? So when you fight in Pride, I'm sure you get paid more than $10,000. Were they paying you guys in cash?
Yeah, they were paying us in cash, and back in those days, back in my day, you going through the airport, it was easier to travel with that type of cash. And I don't want to get myself in trouble, but I did claim taxes. I did claim my taxes, but to get it in the country, I had to get creative, and so I would give. You have 4 cornermen, so you would keep some on you, and you would dish out 9,000 to all your cornermen. But my thing was, those camouflage pants that I walked out in, they had big cargo pockets on them, so I always wore those back on the airport. And being a black guy, you can get away with a lot of stuff. They never suspected me to be carrying a bunch of cash on me. So
look at this broke motherfucker walk through here. I was surprised he could afford a goddamn ticket.
Yeah. They never suspected me to be having that much cash. So it was always cool.
Gotcha. Okay. Now you had some amazing fights in Pride. You had the fight with I think the most notable ones with Vanderlei Silva, the Ricardo Rona, when you picked him up and slammed him. How did your back then hurt when you did that? When you picked him up and slammed him, your back didn't give out? Obviously your back didn't give out, but the sheer power you had to pick him up and powerbomb him. When you did that, where you're like, oh, if I'm going out, I'm taking your ass with me. Come on.
Bro, this is the thing. I've always done that move in the gym and stuff, but I never like slammed my sparring partners. But that was my first time ever whipping somebody up like that. And that fight, that was my first time ever losing my temper in a fight. And I always believe whenever I lost my temper, I had like unlimited strength. And he felt like a paperweight. You know, I lost my temper against Ricardo Arona because, you know, he had done a few things to me being out there, you know, and the straw that broke the camel's back was when he was heel kicking me in the face, and I went down to cover up, and he told the referee that I was knocked out. And the Pride referees, in a little backstory, they didn't like me that much. That's why they used to always give me yellow cards, because the yellow card, it took a point away, but it also took 10% of your purse.
Yep.
And every time I got a yellow card, that's 10% of my purse gone. And they really took 10% of your damn purse. There's only one time they gave me a yellow card and they didn't take 10% of my purse is when I fought Kevin Random. And because I disputed, I was like, I wasn't the one stalling here. So
yeah,
I was really mad at Ricardo Arona. So I just felt like I had unlimited strength, and I wasn't trying to kill him, but I was just trying to slam. I was trying to slam him through the mat. I was, and I think that's why a lot of fans thought that I was on steroids, because a lot of people back in Pride was on steroids, but I never used. But people couldn't understand why I was so strong. But my lower back and my legs are really strong. And, you know, I'm just naturally strong individual because my dad is built. It's genetics. My dad's built. My dad's strong, and I've been working construction since I was 5 years old. I've just been really strong, and Ricardo Arona felt like a paperweight that day.
Damn. Well, if you guys have not seen the Rampage Slam against Ricardo Arona, do yourself a favor, go on YouTube and look it up. It's absolutely amazing. I loved it when you fought in Pride. Okay, you had your time in Pride. Then you finally make your way to the UFC. Your first debut fights against Marvin Eastman. You get your revenge back, and then you work your way up. You become the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. I know you and you left the time at the UFC. We could talk about the Reebok deal, how they took that money away from you. They took Xbox away from me, even though Xbox wasn't paying me. But tell me, you know, what was like getting to UFC, revenging your one of your losses, becoming the champion, and that was the first time. And then you actually, a lot of people don't know this, you know, back in the day when you left Pride, when you fought, you unified the belts. You fought Dan Henderson to unify the belts. It was the Pride champion and the UFC champion fighting, and you unified the belts. Walk me through like your time in the UFC when you became champion, fighting and unifying the belts.
Okay, so I left Pride as well. Pride and we didn't see eye to eye. So I left Pride, and my manager at the time, he became the promoter of a show, WFA, and he couldn't manage me anymore, so he became the promoter. And so he signed me to WFA. Unfortunately, they only had one show, but they gave me a sick contract. And the UFC bought the whole organization just to get my contract. So wow. I can fight Chuck Liddell, because that was the time when Chuck Liddell was avenging all his losses. And I was the last one. I was the last one on his list. The last guy to beat him, he didn't come back and defeat. And so I had that one fight with Marvin Eastman. They bought my contract. I said, look, I always stayed away from UFC because, you know what I'm saying, my teammate and my buddy Tito was champion. I didn't want to come over there. Yep. And, you know, I knew they was going to try to put me against him. And I was like, since you guys brought my contract, you know, I got no say. But if you want me to, you know what I'm saying, be like on the same team with you guys, let me avenge my first loss, Marvin Eastman. And that was my first fight. And so I beat Marvin Eastman, and then they asked me, do you think you can, you know, beat Chuck and get the belt? And I said no, because I knew if they thought that if I was like, yeah, come on, give me Chuck to be a champion, they probably wouldn't have gave me that fight. And I knew I could beat Chuck at that time. But the MMA world, they thought that I was finished, because I had recently lost a fight to Shogun. And yep. They had no reason. They had no idea why I lost that fight. I know why I lost that fight to Shogun. I went to that fight injured, and they just thought that I was finished. And so
it was a rib injury, right?
No, the rib is what he did in the fight. You know, my ankle was I had hurt my ankle sparring, so I couldn't really properly train and spar for the last 4 weeks of the training camp. I could barely walk. You know, and
okay.
So so I still trained, but my cardio was done, and it got in my head like, look, this round is 10 minutes. So let me start off slow, and Ninja just jumped on me and just wrecked me and crashed me. And so I was like, I should have backed out of the fight, but I don't pull out. That's why I got 5 kids. I got a problem pulling out. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. Yeah, my pull-out game is weak. Up to this day, I only pulled out in 1 fight. So I beat Chuck Liddell, got the belt, and then the UFC wanted me to unify the belts with Dan Henderson. So I'm actually the first ever unified champion in MMA. But for some reason, they wanted to give that accolade to Anderson Silva. They said Anderson Silva was the first one, but I actually fought Dan Henderson for the Pride belt as a UFC champion before Anderson Silva did it. Then he did it after me, but they never gave me the accolades of me being the first unified MMA champion. I don't understand why. I don't know why they like Anderson Silva over me. To this day, I have no idea why they had a problem. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Well, I remember when that happened, because I followed Pride and I also followed the UFC, and then I followed your career in Pride, and when you came to the UFC, knocking out Chuck Liddell, and then I remember that was a big thing, is like you fighting Dan Henderson to unify the belts of the Pride belt and the UFC belt, because I believe this is right when the UFC purchased Pride, right? So
right.
Am I right on that point?
Right. Yeah, they purchased Pride. Yeah, right
they
around
purchased Pride,
time,
and at the time, Dan Henderson was the champion, because Dan Henderson knocked out Vanderlei Silva here in America, so he was a champion. So you had the Pride. Yeah, he had 2 belts. So you had the Pride champion facing the UFC champion at the time, which was Rampage Jackson. And then when you guys spot, that unified, because they basically absorbed the Pride. And a lot of people don't realize that, right? And so I remember when that happened, I was like, oh my God, Rampage is about to fight Dan Henderson, 2 champions going head to head. It was very rare at that time where you had one organization and another organization one organization buying the other one, and the champions actually fighting each other. So you are the first athlete to unify the belts of 2 organizations at the highest level.
Right, because back in those days, if you was Pride champion, you was number 1. If you was UFC champion, you was number 2. You remember that?
Yep. Because they're like, well, those guys fight for 10 minutes, and it's way more. The rules were more. They were harder because you couldn't elbow in Pride, because the Japanese thought that if you were to elbow, and I agree with them, when you elbow somebody, it's a cutting mechanism. It's a cutting. It's a cutting tool, right? You cut above the eyelids, the blood drips in the eyes, and the person becomes disarmed, or you get disarmed because they can't see. In the UFC, you can elbow. You don't need much space to elbow. It's like boom. There's no technique. There's technique to it, but not really. Now stomping a grounded opponent. People don't realize it's actually really hard to jump on somebody and stomp their face in. Like, it's extremely hard. But in the UFC, you couldn't do that. So people always put Pride up on the pedestal, saying that's number 1, and the UFC was 2, because those 10-minute rounds, those are fucking gangster rounds. A lot of shit happens in 10 minutes. Like 10-5-5, that's a long fight for championship.
Yeah, that was a long time, and it was harder for wrestlers to fight in Pride, because if you didn't take your shot right and you got down, you was expecting knees on top of your head, and that was ugly. So when I fought Dan Henderson, and if you think about it, I think Dan Henderson was the first double champ in MMA, because he had the 205 belt and the 85 or 89, whatever.
I think it was. I remember. Yeah, he was double champ. Yeah. He was double champ, because when I think back on it, I lost before. Yeah, so you are right. He was a double champ, because nobody in Pride ever did it too. And there's actually a picture of him holding both the Pride belts. I'll have the producer look that up and put it on. See, that's the thing, right? Like, people don't realize, like, the double champ has already been done. Yeah. Right? Champ versus champ has already been done. Organization like Bellator versus PFL. You have the Bellator champ taking on a PFL champ. It's already been done. Right, it was Rampage Jackson versus Dan Henderson.
But it's always good to see. Yeah, I would like to see the Bellator champions go against the UFC champions, the PFL champions go against the UFC champions. I would like to see that, and Risen. I would like to see the Risen champions go against the Bellator. I like to see that, and I don't understand why MMA is so afraid to do that. They think maybe they'll lose market share or whatever. Who cares about that? At the end of the day, I think the fans deserve to see, like, the champs go against each other sometimes.
Well, I agree with you. I love to see it too. You know, let's see how like a one championship athlete can champion fight against, you know, UFC champion. And I think we all know why. It's because, you know, like you said, it's the market share. You have so many people in, you know, in the pot. You have, you know, ESPN Plus that runs all of the UFC. You have Amazon Prime that runs one championship. You have, you know, ESPN that runs Bellator and PFL. So I think, you know, I want you, if you want to watch Jon Jones fight, you got to watch ESPN Plus. You want to watch, you know, Jonathan Haggerty fight, you got to watch Amazon Prime. If you want to watch, you know, this person fight in PFL, you got to watch, you know, on ESPN Plus. So I think they want to keep their athletes to themselves, and I think it's more of a business move. But, you know, I felt like back in the day when, you know, because people were going all over the place to fight. Right? This is before the UFC absorbed, you know, Strikeforce and Pride. Like, you could fight in Pride for 2 fights. Next, you know, you're fighting in Strikeforce for 2 fights.
Yeah.
Then you're going to fight in FXC or whatever made for 2 fights. You can go wherever you want and make all the money. Now it's kind of, you're an athlete, you're locked down that promotion for 5 to 6 fights. And then if you become a free agent, if you got a big name, then you can go to, you know, the other organization, right?
Yeah,
and then this is when you...
Yeah, I never like to sign like big multi-fight contracts. I always like to sign like 3 fights at a time. I never like to sign 5 or 6 fights. I would never do that.
Yeah. Well, I never forget when we fought on a couple cards, and there was one card we were fighting on. You were so pissed off at the UFC. We're at the press conference. You were playing your fucking PS Vita the whole entire time. Your PSP or PS Vita. You were just sitting there like, I ain't talking to nobody. So you said earlier in the show, Reebok took your sponsors. Now I'm gonna go on and say that
UFC took my deal, my Reebok deal from me.
Okay, so they took your Reebok deal when they signed with Reebok, or they just take it and then they went behind your back and took the and brought Reebok onto the UFC and put Reebok on you.
So I was with Reebok and they wanted to sponsor me, and I was doing commercials for them and doing, you know, they gave me like a shoe, like an off-road shoe, and we was finna do a whole big ordeal, and they wanted to be on my shorts and stuff for the UFC, and Dana White was like, you can't be sponsored by Reebok. We don't have a relationship with Reebok. I was like, you don't got a relationship with my other sponsors either. You know, one of my sponsors I was sponsored by Boost Mobile, and Boost Mobile came over to the UFC from me, and I was like, look, you guys are already in business with one of my sponsors. Like, chill out. You know what I'm saying? This ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm an independent contractor. You guys can't tell me what I can and can't have on my shorts. And Reebok was liking that they was getting more press by not being able to be on my shorts than they think they would have gotten just by being on my shorts in the fight and stuff like that. So they teamed up. Reebok didn't do the deal with me. Next thing you know, the whole UFC is sponsored by Reebok.
You're like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, and I didn't get not like 1 cent. Like, you know, I believe, I'm the type of guy, I believe in karma, because if you know me, if you ever done business with me, you know that I've never done a shady deal before in my life. Maybe some deals don't work out, but it don't work out for the both of us. You know what I'm saying? And I believe in karma, and I was watching that Reebok deal play out, and it seems like it wasn't a good deal because Reebok's not there anymore.
Yeah. Well, obviously for me being a flyweight at the time, I felt Reebok, you know, a lot of fighters were like, yeah, you crazy DJ. But I felt like Reebok was good for me. And the reason why I say that is because Grant, I have Xbox, and we talked about Xbox sponsor, how sometimes the only time I'll get paid from Xbox was when they had like a big activation, like Tomb Raider, that one, and then Call of Duty. Those are the only 2 I feel like I got paid from, but I would always wear it. But then once Reebok came into play, like if you're a champion, you get $40K right up front. You don't have to go chase nobody. You ain't got to go chase the money. It's $40K right into your bank account. For me as a flyweight, you know how hard it is to sell flyweight like sponsorship. It's so hard. Granted, I didn't have a management team. It was just Matt Hume and me, and that was it. Right? I didn't want Matt Hume going out and looking for sponsors and fighting. I wanted us just to focus on training for our fights and defending the title as much as possible. So when Reebok came to us, and they're like, hey, you're the champion. You get 40 G's. Don't worry about anything. I was like, bet. But then I also felt bad for guys like you, Brandon Schaub, who was getting 6 figures as a sponsorship. You guys couldn't do that because Reebok took priority, right? So I think they could have done it a lot better. Where it's like, hey, you know what? Like, guys, Reebok is the foundation of the shorts. If you could prove to us that you legitimately have like a legit sponsor that will come in and sponsor you guys more, we'll throw that on top of the Reebok so you guys can make more money instead of shedding out. Because I know guys like you, Brandon, I'm sure, John Jones, I remember he had Gatorade, Nike. A lot of people can get more sponsors. But I think for the flyweights, I think I would be shocked to hear of a flyweight in my time era. Shit, even today's time era, if they can make $40,000 on sponsorships on their shorts. A flyweight, not saying you.
Yeah. Yeah. So think about this. Think about it. The NBA or the NFL came to their teams or and said like, oh, you guys got to wear Reebok or you got to wear just only Nike and you can't get other sponsors. You know, a lot of athletes, like top athletes, they make more money off endorsements than they do off playing the sport that they love. So I thought that was unfair and like we're independent contractors. It was wrong. They can't do that. They can't tell you what uniform and stuff to wear. And that was my whole thing with them. And I think that's one of the things that started the bad blood. But I've done other things that piss off the UFC and stuff too as well. So
oh fuck! You broke the door. You fought Sugar Rashad Evans. I mean, your
like
time in UFC.
Shit.
Your time in UFC was amazing. I know there's always bad times, but the fights you've had in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter you did as well, that was a treat to watch, just to see your temper go up, and then you try to coach the younger athletes, and then you just had Sugar Rashad Evans on the podcast, the Jackson podcast. How was it catching up with him?
You know what? It was good catching up with him because Rashad is actually he's actually fun. He's actually a good guy. I just didn't like him back in the day. I didn't like him. But the director of A-Team, Joe Carnahan, he did another movie called Boss Level, and he had the bright idea to make Rashad and I German twins. So he put us in the movie together because he's a big fan of MMA. He knew about the bad blood, and he liked Rashad too. So he was cool with Rashad. So he put us in the movie together, and we on set. At first, it was kind of tough, but I thought, wow, we became cool, and we've been boys ever since. But we still have that. I feel like I have like unfinished business with him. So on the podcast, he said that he's down to fight me in a boxing match. I don't think he want no more MMA because he knew I was finna put my foot in his ass in MMA. He just got lucky and beat me. So he think he can outbox me. So I hopefully one day that'll happen.
Well, I mean, I'll love to see it. I mean, you two running it back again in a boxing match. Sign me up. Sign my black ass up. Okay, so then you leave.
Let's get you to box somebody. What's up with that?
Now we already gone through this, dog. We talked about this on camera. We gotta wait. I'm busy, building my brand. Now let's talk. Right. You leave the UFC. You go to Bellator.
Yeah.
Right? You go to Bellator, and you have a career at Bellator. And correct me if I'm wrong. Bellator was your last. Like you left. You went to UFC. You left the UFC. Then you came back to UFC. Correct?
Oh yeah, that's right. I think I was like one of the only fighters to be under contract with Bellator and UFC at the same time. I forgot. Yeah, I did.
It was very weird. It was like,
it was weird because it was weird. I can't remember exactly what happened, but when I left the UFC because they took my Reebok deal, but this is before the Reebok deal went into play. But I think I owed them one more fight on contract or something, yes. or I was going to get sued or something. But I had to buy myself out of. I had to buy myself out of that UFC contract. I think it cost like $1.7 million or something. I can't remember what it cost me to buy myself out of that. I can't remember, but it was a big number.
You making that
like
kind of money,
bro? I was getting paid, bro. I was getting paid. I've never been the type of guy that talks about money because I really don't care about money. I don't love money, but bro, I was getting paid. Hey, bro, come on, man. I put butts in seats, bro. You know they got.
I wish I was getting $1.7 million check when I was throwing motherfuckers in the air armbar. I'm telling you that right now.
I didn't say I was getting $1.7 million checks.
Okay, yeah.
No, with pay-per-view, yeah, I was doing. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but with pay-per-view, yeah, I was smashing it. But with Bellator, I can tell you this: Bellator paid me purse-wise on the purse. They paid me more than the UFC paid me, though.
Wow. See, I always tell people there's money. Everybody's like, oh man, you got to be in the UFC. That's where all the money is. I'm like, dude, there's people who make more money outside of the UFC in other organizations, right? Like UFC has that prestige, right? You look at Kayla Harrison, she just left PFL to fight in the UFC because she's done everything in PFL. She's won the tournament. She's been the champion. Now she's in the UFC and she becomes a UFC women's champion. Boom, her legacy is set, right? You unify the belts in UFC and Pride. Boom. Now you got the big checks. Boom, your legacy is pretty much set. Now whatever you do is for fun. Right.
But I'm gonna tell you, but I'm gonna tell you this though. To be honest though, I don't think I would have got those big purse paydays in Bellator if I wasn't in the UFC. And mind you, in the UFC, I got a big purse. I had a big purse, but then I also had pay-per-view dollars.
Yes.
When I went to Bellator, they didn't do pay-per-view, so that's why I had to get a huge guarantee, a huge purse. And me, when I do my contracts, I win or lose, I get the same money. I never did this to show I get this, and if I win, I get that. I never did those contracts. As soon as I got to a level to where I had negotiating power, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. If I lose, I get half or something. No, I didn't do that shit. I said, people come there and watch me fight, whether I win or lose, I'm gonna get paid. Yeah.
Well, you're one of the anomalies of the sport, right? When I first started fighting, I mean, I believe when we both started fighting, we were like, you win, your show, you win, right? And then when we both get to a certain point in our career, we start making, we're winning. People are coming to see us or buying a pay-per-view or whatnot. Not me as much, but probably for you. You can start asking for, no, this is my guarantee whether I win or I lose, right? Where a lot of people, they're not in that same boat. They're not in that same situation where they got to work their way up the ranks to be able to make to get to the point, the opportunity to have that in their contract. Where a lot of people,
disrespectful, bro. I don't care what level and stuff you are, but you think about this. I think it's disrespectful. Like we're coming to fight.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree.
You should get paid. You should get paid the same, whether you win or lose. Like I think that's disrespectful to the fighters and is unfair. You know what I'm saying? Like I think it should be one
straight up.
One person.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. It's not like you work a 40-hour week job and you show up and you flip all these burgers and next thing you know, they're like, oh, we're going to give you, 30 hours worth of your check instead of 40. It's like, no, I showed up for 40 hours. You're going to pay my motherfucking 40-hour week check. Same thing with fighting. I agree with you. There should not be a show win. There is no such thing as an incentive. The incentive of winning is you win a fucking. I have never met somebody to this day who's ever stepped in a cage or a ring or on a jiu-jitsu match on a mat just to show up and lose, right? I've never met a person.
I'm had to correct you. I just thought about it. I understand. I do kind of understand it because there are people with all due respect. We both know this guy. And I love him, and he keep it real about it. Bob Sapp.
Oh.
Sometimes he'd be like, fuck it, I'm not training now. I don't give a fuck. Just give me my money. So yeah, if a guy does that, if a guy's go out there and flop, then it should be in the contract. Look, if you go out there and you just lay down, you just flop, as soon as the bell ring, you ain't getting that fucking money. So I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with you, right? So there are some rare cases. I've been corrected. But if everyone who stepped in a competition, football, NFL, NBA, nobody ever steps into the competition ready to lose. Everybody wants to win. And you think about it, back in the day, when you lose 2 fights, you're getting your walking papers, right? So that was an incentive to fucking win.
Right.
So you don't get fired.
Yeah,
right?
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
There was no, I don't see why, we give you half your check, and then if you fight really good, if you win, we give you the other half. It's like, why? It's like, I'm here to fight, right? So I agree with you. Like, it is disrespectful where it's like, dude, there's no reason. I fucking made it here. Now you're trying, it's like, I've proven I want to be here. I want to be the champion, but you're still going to make me work for the other half of my check. So I agree with you. So I agree. If we get to a point in our career, well, we and you both have got to a point in our career where we can just say, this is what I want. It is what it is. And don't get me wrong. Like guys like Sergio Pettis, he left the UFC. Now I've heard he's making more money in Bellator and all that stuff. I left the UFC. I'm making more. I am making more money with one championship. There are those things. And I agree with you. If I never had built my name and did 11 consecutive title defenses in the UFC and then be able to build my brand there and go to Asia or go somewhere else, I probably wouldn't make as much money. But since I did have that initial kind of boost in America, it kind of helped my case, and for you, help your case with Bellator with the pay-per-view points and all that stuff. So I agree with you on all fronts.
Yeah, I've been wanting to ask you about one championship. First of all, I got to say, I think that was the worst trade ever in the sport of MMA. You for what's that dude name?
Ben Askren.
He was on Ben Askren. That was the worst trade ever. You know, I know you was like what 125 weight class.
Yeah, 125 flyweight.
Yeah, a flyweight. So I know that's like a small weight class and blah 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 and all that, whatever they were saying. But you are an exciting fighter, and you know what I'm saying, one of the greatest champions that ever, you know what I'm saying, step foot in the cage. You know, you can't deny that. So I just think that the UFC, you know, in my opinion, if I was a promoter, I would just kept rocking with you. But you did great. You went over to one championship. What's up with them? Are they paying? I would like. They got heavyweights. I want to go over there and try. I'm a free agent. I want to go over there and do something before I get too old. What's up? What's up with one championship? They like black folks.
I'll talk to Chatri for you, okay? I'll say, hey, you know, I'll say, Chatri, Rashad Evans and Rampage Jackson will do a boxing match. What do you think? And one championship's amazing, man. Like, I love them. Yeah. Like, they gave me the opportunity, and they believe in my skill set and my brand, and I was able to go over there and fight in a World Grand Prix, which is something I've always wanted to do in beginning of my career, because I grew up watching you fight in a World Grand Prix in Pride. And for me to be able to do that in one championship, it was amazing. And then I got the opportunity to fight Rod Tang. That was also a thing.
That was a sick fight, yeah.
That was also something I couldn't do if I stayed with the UFC. So when I left the UFC, it was probably like the best thing for me, because I got to do other things, right? Like I looked at my scale. It's like, okay, I just lost to Henry Cejudo, where a lot of people thought I won. And then if I were to go back and fight Henry again for the third time, if I beat him, I'm still stuck with the company that was at the time talking about getting rid of the flyweights, right? And then who was I going to fight after that? There was nobody after Henry Cejudo. Like, I beat the bricks off Henry Cejudo. He works his way back up the fucking ranks, and then it's like, okay, who am I going to fight after that? So that was that situation. If I was to lose to Henry for the second time, this is the third fight, then it's okay, I'm stuck where I'm at right now. So I was like, I think I'm gonna take a leap of faith and see what I can do outside of the UFC. And it was the best decision I ever made. And it was probably the best decision the UFC probably made, because if they never made that trade, you never have Jorge Masvidal, you never have Leon Edwards, you never have Kamaru Usman, you don't have those big, monumental things that happen in the UFC. And I'm gonna have Ben Askren on a podcast to talk to him about, like, hey, where are you at when they approach you about that trade? What'd you think about it? So it'll be interesting. But hey, I appreciate that love, baby. I appreciate that love, Rampage. I really do.
It's real. Yeah, it's real though. Like, and it's just like you don't get many champions to have as. I've never seen anybody with as many UFC belts as you. Tell me another champion that got as many belts as you. I don't know. So, but I'm not like a person that follows the UFC a whole lot and everything. So when I saw that, I was like, well, what the fuck is the UFC thinking? So, listen, with all due respect, the homeboy was boring.
Who, Ben Askren?
Yeah, he was a boring. With all due respect, I like him since I had him on the show and stuff. I got to know him, and I like him. He's a great guy. But his fighting style, he's a wrestler. I'm a wrestler, but his fighting style was boring to me. So I was like, I don't know what they're doing. With all due respect.
Like I said, when a trade happened, one championship, they got a workhorse. I've always shown up. I've always put on great fights. And I think for them, they got the opportunity to see what Ben Askren could do in the UFC, even though he was at the tail end of his career. So the trade happened. I'm happy. I think Ben Askren is happy about it. And I think every organization on each side are happy. I think the fans might be a little bit pissed off about it, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. Yeah. Now, You're all done. You're not officially retired, but you're just living your best life at the Jackson house. What do you got? You got anything coming up right now? I know you're out there with Bear, Luke Rocco, Chito Vera. You guys are building something special. Like, what do you got going on right now?
Oh, right now I'm training for this my first ever Japanese pro wrestling match in Josh Bloodsport's Bushido June 22nd
in
Japan.
Are you bullshitting right now? Are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. I'm fighting this Japanese guy. Josh told me he's 280. His name is Shrek. So I'm gonna go fuck this Japanese guy up real quick. I'm gonna fuck his world up. I'm gonna fuck you up, Shrek. I'm gonna fuck you up, son.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I'm excited to get.
Yes.
I'm excited to get back in Japan and entertain the fans.
And
and
when is this match? June 22nd, you said?
Yeah, June 22nd. It's gonna be on Fight TV on Triller.
Okay. So, now, is this June 22nd Asia time or June 22nd? So they're a day ahead of us. So the 21st or 23rd.
It's still they're a day ahead of us. But if the way it works out, it'll still be the 22nd for us. It'll just be a different time. So
okay.
It's still, It's crazy. It's so hard to imagine this. So when you go there, you lose a day. When you come back home, you gain a day. So it's so weird, but if it's the 22nd here, it's the 22nd there, but it's just 14. It's like 14
hour
hours.
difference.
14 hours.
Depending on if it's nighttime, I agree with you. So I'm I just want to make sure I have it down correctly because I might try to watch that shit. Because I never forget you were just recently in Thailand with Bob Sapp, and I'm going through Instagram and I see you and his black ass in one shirt beating up people. I'm like, what the fuck is Rampage doing?
Bro, that was so fun. I'm just like having fun, but I wanted to do a boxing match before I got too old. And me and Shannon Briggs, we were supposed to fight in Qatar tomorrow, but unfortunately some things didn't go according to plans, and so I'm not in Qatar, so it's not going down. So I'm hoping to still fight him before I get too old. But right now I'm just having fun. I'm doing this pro wrestling, Japanese. I always wanted to do Japanese style pro wrestling because it is MMA. Basically, it's basically like a fight. And I just want to have fun. But you told me about you reminded me about one championships. I ain't seen no heavyweights over there, but I'm sure they got some.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they have. Oh. I mean, the cool thing about one championship, you don't have to cut weight, so you just show up. The weight class you want to fight at, hydration test, you pass it, you get to fight. And it's kind of like pride rules, dream rules, where you can knee the opponent on the ground, but you can't hit, you can't stomp. So if you're serious about it, man, I'll put a word in for Chatri. I'll say, hey Chatri, I think Rampage Jackson wants to fight. You think
what
about
they paying? What they paying? They paying millions?
Don't worry about it. That's a whole other conversation, dog. Don't worry about what I'm getting. Okay, we already went through this before.
I ain't worried about your money. I'm just saying, are they paying millions? Yeah, that's a yes or no.
They pay good money. They pay good money, dog. They probably pay good money for Rampage.
No, okay then. Say less.
Okay, we'll see. Now, Michael, producer, you got anything for my man Rampage? We let him go.
Hey, what's up, Rampage?
What's up, man? I like that.
Yeah, representing Jackson. Shout out to Bear.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you. You, as a former opponent of Jon Jones, I want your take on the pound for pound debate, because Dana White made a lot of headlines saying that he thought Jon Jones is pound for pound over Islam. What's your take on that? Islam Makhachev or Jon Jones, number one pound for pound right now?
Goddamn right now, Islam Makhachev is a pound for pound. After Islam posted how many people he spot, and then Jon Jones spot one person, it said sorry. It's like, I mean, there's got to be a point in time. Go ahead, Rampage. I'm sorry. This is your question. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll shut the fuck up. I'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rampage.
Struck a nerve. See, have you ever fought Islam?
Me? No, I never fought Islam.
Well, shut the fuck up and let me talk. I fought one. I fought one of them. God damn it! I fought Jon Jones. So I'm gonna tell you this. I understand the argument is that Jon Jones haven't fought that much in recent times, but I think and I'm not trying to agree with Dana White at all. You know what I'm saying? You got to love Uncle Dana because he did a lot for this sport that we all love, right? So you got to show the man respect. I think what he's saying is overall, the time that Islam was in the UFC and the time that Jon Jones was in the UFC, that's what you're talking. You're not just talking about who's pound for pound in the last 10 fights, on the last 5 fights, or in the last 12 months, the last 24 months. He's talking about overall in MMA, you know what I'm saying, right now, because he could have said Horace Gracie. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
The best from pound to pound from right now, you know what I'm saying? But Jon Jones has never lost. He got one loss on his record, and it's because he did some illegal shit. elbow in the back of the head or something, that they should have just called it a no contest. Because, or I know Jon Jones is a dirty fighter, but I don't know. It shouldn't have been a loss on his record. Because I saw that fight and to check it out, and they didn't have to get the guy a loss, right? But Islam, I've only seen him fight like a handful of times, and yes, he's really good and everything, but he's lost. And in my opinion, I think when Dana White said Jon Jones is pound for pound best right now, he's thinking throughout his whole UFC career, not the last couple of years.
That makes sense. I can see where you're coming from. Like that's one thing I've always respected about Dana White. He always keeps it real. I was having, me and the wife. It was me, T Wood, the wife, and his wife, and the wife was smoking weed with Snoop Dogg, and I was sitting there having a conversation with Dana White. I think he was just trying to, get underneath my skin to make me fight TJ Dillashaw, and he was drinking Bud Light. He goes, you know who the pound for pound best fighter in the world is, Demetrious? I said, who? He goes, Conor McGregor. I was like, he just fucking lost. What are you talking about?
Who said that? Snoop Dogg?
Dana White. And I said, Dana, I was like, he just lost. He goes, doesn't matter. He'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I was like, Dana, you fucking high as fuck right now. You been smoking that stuff with Snoop Dogg, right? So I always try to take what he says for a grain of salt. But when I look at it, your perspective, how you look at Islam's whole career, you look at Jon Jones' whole career, yes, I can see you can say he's the pound for pound best. Yeah. But when I look at the last...
But hold on, just don't skate over this. Did you say your wife will smoke weed with Snoop Dogg?
Yes.
How in the fuck you gonna let your wife smoke weed with Snoop Dogg? How you gonna let Snoop Dogg smoke out your wife, bro?
Well, I was there hanging out with them. I just wasn't smoking weed.
You don't smoke weed. You don't indulge, huh?
No.
Yeah, that's good. But even though you don't indulge, you wouldn't take it as a achievement to smoke weed with a Snoop Dogg one time.
So you know what? If my brother, he got schizophrenic and bipolar from smoking weed, so I've always been scared of marijuana at the time. So, but my wife, she goes, "Shit, I'm smoking with fuck Snoop Dogg. Y'all know what you fuck."
Yeah. You could have been like Bill Clinton. You just didn't inhale, just hit it. Then
they all look at me like this, motherfucker. If you don't inhale that good shit, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So
they would know you would have coughed up a lung if you would have inhaled it. I think he probably smoked some fucking harsh shit.
Exactly. So that's why I didn't touch it. But she did. She said she had it was a good time or whatnot. But
yeah, it's a good experience.
Back to the scope of the thing, it's like, so okay. I've always respected about Dana White. He says what it is. But when I look at the last 2 to 3 years, there's got to be a point in time where, somebody's achievements and how active they've been fighting and defending the belt has to overcome the past, right? Because then Jon Jones will always be the pound for pound best fighter in the world, even if he never fights. You know what I mean? So I think like currently right now at the top of the list, it should be Islam Makhachev, right? But if you look at like the last 30 years at MMA, then yeah, I can see Jon Jones, but I think Islam's been putting the work. He's been grinding. Yeah. He's been defending the belt. Nothing against Jon Jones. I mean, he fought, I can't remember his last fight, who he fought in at light heavyweight, but he fought Tsarukyan, and you look at the guys that Islam Makhachev has fought, the skill level of the grappling and the striking is way far superior to Tsarukyan, and that's no disrespect to Tsarukyan. He's a striker. He's not a grappler.
Cyril Gane. Now that Ariel called me out on it. Cyril Gane.
Cyril Gane.
Not Gane.
Cyril Gane.
You gave him a Nigerian name? Is he Nigerian or something?
No, he's European.
He's French.
He's French. That's European, right?
Yeah. So he's African descent, right?
Yeah, something like that. So you look at the Cyril, you see like the skill level. It's just not the same. So
right.
It's always interesting, right?
I understand the argument because Islam, he's finishing people and knocking them out, and Jon Jones, like I said, right? You just forget when somebody don't fight as much. You forget, and he's been injured and stuff like that. I'm not taking up for him or being biased because I lost to him, but I just think like when it comes in my mind, who's the baddest person, in the UFC, if I'm finna go into this dark alley and and they say you can have one person with you to help you fight, I'm going to say Jon Jones. I'm not going to say Islam. You know what I'm saying? That's me the way I think. I think right now. I
don't know, man. I think you're picking the wrong person. I think Jon Jones might rob you and join sides with the other guy. Islam, he was like, my brother, we died together. We're gonna wrestle together, we're gonna die together. Jon Jones goes, hey dog, Yeah, about that.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. What I think I know about Jon Jones. Even though I've talked shit on Jon Jones about being a dirty fighter over the years, make fun of him for eye poking and stuff like that, and make fun of him for saying not walking out to the song "I'm in love with the cocoa" when he got that scandal. I've made fun of him over the years, but he knows it's not personal. I just like to laugh and joke around. I think that if I was in a dark alley and I was about to get jumped or get robbed by some guy, I think Jon Jones, if he was with, I would rather have Jon Jones there with me. I'm like, because I know me and Jon Jones together, we can fuck up some motherfuckers, and he probably gonna do most of the work.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I think they're both great. I love Jon Jones. I love Islam. I think it's great. I think it's a great argument. I think they're both the best pound for pound, best fighters in the world. I have Jon Jones as my GOAT. So I always love to ask that question. That was Michael. So Rampage, where can people find you? How can they support you? This is your opportunity to let people know where they can find you, support you, and get ready for that Japanese wrestling match before we let you go.
You guys can hit me up on my socials. It's Rampage for real on most of my socials. I think on TikTok, which I don't use that much, is I think it's Rampage Jackson. And you guys can check me out there on my socials. I post everything that I'm doing, and thank you guys for supporting me all through the years. Much love to all the Rampage fans out there, all my day ones. I got nothing but mad love for you guys, and I appreciate you having me on Mighty Mouse. Thank you. I really love your show. I love what you do for MMA. I love everything about you except for when you didn't hook me up with the Xbox sponsor years ago.
You've been mad, Rampage. You've been like, motherfucker, I thought you were making money. I was like, I'm not making money. You'd be like, great, now I'm not making fucking money.
I'm still salty about it, though, because I asked you, and you just looked at me dead in the eyes, and you said, no.
What? Well, Rampage, I got nothing but love for you, man. And thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I've always been a big fan of you, man. I always love being in your presence and hanging out with you guys at the Jackson, hanging out with you at the Jackson house and all the other boys. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the MIGHTYcast, please do yourself a favor, like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to never go live, and go give my boy Rampage Jackson a follow on all his social media, and look out for his next outing in Japan, where he's taking on a Japanese wrestler, so he can finally fulfill that one dream of his to do some pro wrestling. We will see you guys in the next one.
You just say something about a Jap? You just said something about a Jap.
I said Japanese. I'll stumble on my words, but I got it right, damn it.
Yeah, okay.
Can I close the show out or not, motherfucker? Can I close it out or not? Shut your black ass up. Let me finish. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you guys at the next one. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Recap. And this is where we recap everything that we just talked to or digested from our guest. And our last guest was Rampage Jackson, absolute legend of the sport of mixed martial arts. The man has done movies. The man has fought all around the world in Pride, UFC, Bellator, and now he's basically going to be competing in a Japanese wrestling event, I believe under Josh Barnett. But I think the interesting thing that I took away from the conversation with Rampage is, one, he just wrestled. I mean, he played football, but that football turned into like a gang beat him up or whatever. And then he joined wrestling, but he thought he was doing pro wrestling. I think he was kind of playing a little bit there. But you can kind of see each time he wrestles, there's so many things online of him always power bombing people. It's like his signature. Right, I think the last time we saw a powerbomb in mixed martial arts was our good friend Aljamain Sterling, where he powerbombed his last opponent. But you had Rampage Jackson, amazing career in Pride. I think the biggest loss he's had in Pride was Vanderlei Silva and Shogun Rua. But the Ricardo Arona slam was absolutely amazing. Him coming over to the UFC, avenging his loss against Marvin Eastman, taking out Chuck Liddell to become the light heavyweight champion of the world, and defending and unifying the belts of UFC and Pride. This is when the UFC purchased Pride. A lot of people don't remember that unification bout. I remember I was watching my friends at the house, and then him leaving the UFC, going to Bellator. They come back to the UFC with that tricky situation, and then now he is basically, I think his last career was in Bellator. I can't remember his last fight is, but it was a good conversation because we always hang out when each summer in California, I'm at the Jackson house, and we're always having a good time, good vibes, and it's always hilarious how Rampage it's just fucking funny. Like I can talk to him. I think the podcast would have gone on for another hour and a half because there's so much more we could have talked about.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because you guys brought it up and I had my computer in front of me, so I looked it up. When you fought Horiguchi, I thought that was pretty interesting that Rampage was the co-main event of that. And at least according to him, I don't know how much to believe this, but he said to you during the interview that he was signed to Bellator and UFC, but which I somewhat believe it because he fought like Bellator, then randomly had this UFC fight in your co-main event, the co-main event of your fight versus Horiguchi, and then he never fought in UFC again. He wins the fight, he never fights in UFC again, so I guess that does bring some validity to it, but I thought that was interesting that he claimed he's the only fighter ever to fight in UFC still under Bellator contract.
Yeah, I remember that. It was an interesting time. Right, because I remember we fought on multiple cards together. Because I never forget. I don't know if that was a card, but I remember he was at the press conference, pissed off, playing on his PS Vita, and then he fought, and he went back to Bellator, and it was almost like, is this guy in Bellator or he's in the UFC? But it makes sense how he had to come back and fight that one last fight off his contract, and then go back to Bellator. And I always love when athletes, when they leave the UFC, they always say they make better money, because I do believe that. I believe there's athletes out there when they do leave the UFC, if they have a big name. You know, Anthony Pettis is another one, Sergio Pettis. Myself, Nate Diaz is about to box Jorge Masvidal. Jorge Masvidal also, I think he's still with the UFC, but the UFC kind of gave him the green light. Conor McGregor, that's the biggest paycheck he's ever made, is outside of mixed martial arts. So I think there's some merit to when Rampage Jackson is saying that, hey, I make great money at Bellator. And there's other athletes out there who make really, really good money as well. I'd be kind of curious to see how he does in this Japanese pro wrestling thing, even though this is something he has always wanted to do since he was a kid. And I think him finally able to live out his dream to do a pro wrestling match is going to be dope. And how he talked about Paramount dropping the ball. Well, Bellator Paramount, that was the owner of Bellator, dropping the ball and put him in the movies, wrestling, and all that stuff. But a little bit behind the scenes of, you know, when he signed with Bellator, all of the opportunities he could have had, or they wished, they told him that he was going to be able to have when he signed with Bellator.
What I thought was maybe the funnest answer of the whole interview was when I asked about Islam and Jon Jones. A good perspective from Rampage that he fought Jon Jones, and he kind of said to you, have you fought Islam or Jon Jones? And you're like, nope, I haven't done that. But so just to follow up on that, because you wanted to say a lot more about that, what's your take on that hot topic of, I know you think Islam should be pound for pound number one.
Yeah, I think so. I think Islam right now, if you look at his resume, and I understand Rampage Jackson's, understanding of what Dana White's saying too, but at some point in time, Jon Jones is not going to be the pound for pound best fighter in the world. Just like myself, at one point in time, I was the pound for pound best fighter in the world, right? I got it by default, I guess you can say, because Jon Jones got injured or test positive. I don't know what the fuck it was at the time, and I got bumped up to pound for pound best fighter in the world on the UFC ranking in under MMA Junkie and Sherdog and MMA Fighting. But when you look at what Islam Makhachev has done in the last couple of years, he's beat Charles Oliveira. He's beat Dustin Poirier. He's beaten everybody he's been put in front of, and he's been finishing these guys, right? If you look at Jon Jones' last fight, and you look at the guys that Jon Jones has fought compared to Islam, I would have to say, and it's no disrespect to the guys that Jon Jones has fought, I would say those guys aren't as well-rounded, right? Like, you look at Charles Oliveira versus, Cyril. Charles Oliveira is a more well-rounded athlete in mixed martial arts, stand-up, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai. He's more well-rounded than the guys that Jon Jones has fought. And he's also been active, right? So if a champion has been active, and granted Jon Jones is injured, so he's going to be coming back fighting Stipe Miocic, where Stipe Miocic hasn't fought since he got knocked out by Francis Ngannou, right? So you look, you sit back, you take a step back, and you look, and it's like, dude, I understand Jon Jones is one of the greatest of all time. So is Anderson Silva, so is GSP, and so is myself. But Anderson Silva, GSP, when they weren't as active, they weren't on the pound for pound best fighters in the world. They weren't on the top of the list. Right now we have Jon Jones, who's not on our list. The guy he's about to fight next hasn't fought in 3 or 4 years, right? Like, you look at how long it's been since Stipe's fought. Francis has already fought 2 boxing matches, and Stipe hasn't fought once. Granted, they're running for this big fight, Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. So I think right now, Islam Makhachev is the best pound fighter in the world, just due to the championships, him finishing people, and his activity. Now, once again, like I said, I understand. If you look at the lifespan of those guys' careers, yes, absolutely, we can say Jon Jones pound for pound best fighter in the world. But you look at my span of my career, there's an argument that says, and I'm so active, I've been knocking people out, flying knees and shit and all that stuff. So I just think that right now, I think Islam Makhachev, we don't look at the whole entire career of one athlete. We look at what the person's done in the last 2 to 3 years. And I'll have to say it's hard to argue with Islam's resume that he's not the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now.
Yeah, and about the activity, looking at this graphic that I have in front of me, since 2021, okay?
Yep.
Islam Makhachev, these are his wins. Dustin Poirier, Volkanovski twice, Charles Oliveira, Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises, and Drew Dober. Since 2021, all those guys I just listed, Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane is the only one. All those guys I just listed. And then, and once again, we did it. You could go and take a look back. We did a GOAT mountain. Who we had a GOAT. We both had Jon Jones number 1, but that's not the debate we're having right now. It's who's pound for pound, who's been the most active. So I'm gonna agree with you there.
And
yeah,
who did Jon Jones fight before Ciryl Gane?
Gone. Let me pull that up. Obviously, he was a light. Was it Thiago Santo or was it here? I'm gonna pull it up.
I can't remember. But right there, and when you said that, Alex Volkanovski twice, that's a champion. Charles Oliveira, also another champion. Dustin Poirier, an interim champion.
Oh, it was Dominic Reyes. I didn't realize that was the last fight he had before moving up.
Wow, when was that?
That was February 2020. Then he did not fight again for almost exactly 3 years.
Exactly,
March
right?
2023.
So see, that's what I'm talking about, right? And that fight against Dominic Reyes, I saw a clip recently on Twitter saying like Dominic Reyes kind of gave it to him, where Jon Jones was a little bit in trouble. But I just think like you look at, and all the guys that Jon Jones has fought, not one of those guys has been a champion in recent years, obviously because Jon Jones is there, but that just shows how competitive lightweight division is compared to light heavyweight, right? I mean, at one point in time, light heavyweight was the main premier division. You had Lyoto Machida, Jon Jones, Vitor Belfort, Mauricio Shogun Hua. You had some killers in that division. Now you look at lightweight division, lightweight still at this right now is probably one of the most competitive divisions with Charles, Arman, Islam, at one point Habib. It's just a very, very stacked division. So I mean, like I said, I think Islam is the pound for pound best fighter right now in the world. And I think one day Islam will make it on a GOAT mountain if he keeps up what he's doing. I think a lot of the things is he just got to stay healthy and keep a long active. And especially if he goes up and fights at 170 against Leon Edwards, I mean, it's hard to deny that man on the mountain. We'll have to kick one of those guys off and bring him up there.
I'd like to see him fight Arman Tsarukyan first, because I think Arman is a very worthy challenger. They actually fought before, close competitive fight. So I would like to see that fight before 170. But I think if he gets past Arman, he's beaten practically every challenger. And he's already beat Arman too. So that'd be Arman twice and everyone else in that division. But yeah, but getting it back, going back to Rampage. So I thought it was interesting. Another part that I liked of the interview, the one championship. Let's get this guy signed to one championship. Let's have him go against Anatoly, because I think that would be a very marketable fight. We got Anatoly, the 3 division, one championship champion. So how badly do you want to see that fight in one championship?
That'd be a sick fight to watch. I know Anatoly's been more active. I know not Jon Jones. I know Rampage Jackson has been focusing more on boxing because he's supposed to fight Shannon Briggs. And I think that's a very, very hard fight for Rampage Jackson, because once again, Rampage has been focused on boxing when Anatoly has been fighting the best in the world. Where Rampage's last fight, I can't remember who it was, but I feel like it was Fedor Emelianenko. And that was a long time ago when Bellator was still ran by Scott Coker. So Rampage Jackson has been out of the competition game for, I would say, at least 3 to 4 good years. So, you know, I think if he wanted to come to one championship, I think they could put something together, have him fight another legend, maybe have him fight Mauricio Shogun Rua, or have him fight, Sugar Rashad Evans, because those two were going back and forth. But I think Rashad Evans and Rampage Jackson, they're working on trying to do a boxing match. And that's the cool thing now, is you don't have to sign with a big promotion in order to make fights happen. I mean, look at Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal. They're about to fight. You look at Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. That what promotion is throwing this on? It's Jake Paul's promotion that's throwing it on. The most valuable player, MVP, whatever the hell it's called. So I think if Rampage and Sugar Sean Evans wanted to do it, I'm sure there would be a network. Triller can throw it. I mean, like I said, man, I feel like right now is the best time to be a combat sports fan, because there's so much stuff going on. I mean, they just announced Bare Knuckle Fighting and Ryzen are co-promoting, and we're gonna see we see Mike Perry in fucking Ryzen Bare Knuckle Boxing in Japan. So but yeah, I'm excited to see what Rampage does next. I think it's going to be the Japanese wrestling first, and then after that, hopefully we can finally see him do a boxing match with Sugar Rashad Evans or Shannon Briggs. Hopefully we can do it before Shannon Briggs gets too old and ends up in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and bringing up boxing, keep an eye out for DJ. He's going to actually be at the Tank Davis Frank Martin fight in Las Vegas. That's going to be this Saturday. So how much are you looking forward to being? I don't know if you'll be front row. Hopefully they give you the VIP treatment, but being in very good company, seeing that fight in Vegas.
Dude, I'm super pumped, man. It's been a long time since me and my wife been on a Vegas trip with no kids, so that's the most thing I'm looking forward to, right? Going to Vegas with her. And then this will be my first boxing match I've ever gone to. Big fan of Gervonta Davis. I mean, Gervonta Davis, absolutely stud, athletic as hell, fast, undefeated. He beat Ryan Garcia. We actually did a breakdown. I'll be dropping this week as well. And then, Frank Martin, don't know much about him. I watched this fight. He does a couple things that are a little interesting that I've seen, but super excited. I'm grateful that PBC is bringing me out to cover this fight. I won't be able to do a live instant reaction because I won't have my camera there, but I'm excited to go enjoy some fights without breaking them down, and I'm starting to fall in love with boxing because, like I said before, I do feel like boxing is a little more exciting than MMA. I feel like as I become covering the sport, I like to follow the stories, right? And I think right now the biggest story in mixed martial arts going in the rest of June, we'll go over them right now. We have Hamzat taking on Robert Whittaker, and then at the end of the month we have Michael Chandler fighting Conor McGregor. There's a lot of things that everybody was worried about, like, is Conor going to fight? Is Chandler going to fight? A little, some drama there. And then previously, we just had Kay Bertolo. He made his mixed martial arts debut, beat the guy, Blake Cooper. I had no worries. I thought he was going to beat him pretty handily once he gets the fight to the ground. And then we also had Mikey Misimichi taking on Gabriel Souza, envision him getting revenge against Gabriel Souza. He did that. So for me, there's so many good fights. Like, oh man, you know, watch Rodtang fight? Ain't nobody fucking beating Rodtang. The biggest thing for Rodtang, the motherfucker can't make weight. You look at Taiwan Chai versus Smoking Joe, a little controversy there, but I'm not. Those stories don't get me up and excited. But for me, Gervonta Davis, if he gets past Frank Martin, hopefully we can see Shakur Stevenson versus Gervonta Davis, or we can see the rematch with Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia. So I think there's a lot of stories all over the place in combat sports with boxing, mixed martial arts, and even grappling. You have ADCC coming up along with Craig Jones Invitational. Luke Rockhold's joining the Craig Jones Invitational. The winner gets $1 million. And if you just sign up for the Craig Jones Invitational, you get $10,000. So a lot of stuff going on right now in the combat world, and I'm happy to be able to cover it. And it's going to be a good time covering the sport this summer.
Yeah, shout out to Cade Rutolo, friend of the show, MIGHTYcast guest, also Jackson athlete. No, it was cool seeing his performance. We were texting as we're watching it. Like, I was super impressed. 21-year-old. I think he has a huge future in MMA. He's first going to have